tell me what the gradient at x is equal to 3 on a parabola y.
Well, you'd have to draw it out on a graph, wouldn't you?
No, you don't.
Oh,
And that's
okay,
because you don't know anything about this subject because you're a fucking moron.
Wow,
you are
that's
educationally
all right.
retarded.
Well, you obviously
you know
sound like a very
subject.
intelligent person there, Rumpus.
You
Yes.
are an absolute, utter moron.
Yes.
You know less
You
than a
obviously
14-year-old,
sound like.
and you've just demonstrated just now you know nothing about this subject on which you claim to be an expert.
I've just said about a gradient, Rumpus. That's all. We were just doing the simple stuff about a gradient.
You are less well educated than a 14-year-old.
Well, you should definitely be able to tell everybody how this goes like this. Yeah.
Why are you so mad?
Because this guy is deceiving you. He knows nothing of this subject,
like, there's loads of pictures. I've put loads of pictures in the chat of what a gradient is, Rumpus.
14-year-old, and you believe what he says.
It's okay.
He knows nothing.
They're very simple drawings about gradients, you know.
Nothing about
it's like high school stuff, Rumpus, the gradient.
Nothing about tangents. He denied that you can work out the angles between two curves.
It's like rise over run. I'll get you some more if you want,
He
right?
denied the tangents are the gradient of a curve at a point.
Oh, look.
He knows nothing, and you guys are believing him. You're making yourself look ridiculous.
Can you see what Brenda's put in there? She's put the gradient of a point on a curve. It develops a line and then does the rise over the run, just like we've said, Rumpus.
Like, that's the slope, right? That's the slope.
That's the gradient, yes.
Is slope equal to gradient?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, the slope.
Yeah, so that's what I've been saying all along. It's the rise over run of the line. Like, so thanks for helping us out there.
So tell me what the gradient is of a curve y is equal to x squared at x is equal to 3.
Blue uses AutoCAD, and he makes his diagrams himself. He's an engineer, so he's perfectly capable of making accurate drawings.
He should know what a chord is then, shouldn't he?
As an engineer.
There is no vertical plane.
What?
Every point on the bridge has its own vertical. There's no such thing as there's no vertical plane that applies to all the points on the bridge.
Of course there is. There's a vertical plane, definitely, yes.
There are radials, there are verticals, all not parallel.
Rumpus, you can't do your maths, Rumpus.
Every single point
Rumpus, you cannot find your triangle to find the center of the presupposed fucking sphere if you do not have the plane, Rumpus.
About triangles. What are you gibbering about?
What about, right, tell the guys about the possibilities of the internal tangent plane.
The different, like how it would be used, you mean? If that was internal?
I mean, like...
Okay. The whole hump thing, you mean?
Possible, not possible. No. Like the internal tangent plane in that drawing that Blue's done.
I don't know if it's internal. I don't know. I'm not going to discuss that picture further. We've come to the conclusion. I don't know enough about what was said or being represented to be able to talk about it.
Can you have an internal tangent plane, Sean?
Against a model, yes. In real life, in real observation, no.
Yeah, sit down, little girl. Sit down.
What about in geometry?
Yes.
No, it's not vertical. Well, it's vertical at one point, but the chord, it's a perpendicular to the chord.
So, Bev, that green section, is that part of the tangent plane?
I don't understand why he's referred to as a tangent plane.
It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3. You have to open your mind.
Don't look up.
Paradox, have you heard of that?
Imagination is all you need. Don't take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they say is in vain.
Yeah, sit down, little girl. Sit down.
Never take advice from fools.
The tangent plane contains the chord, right? The chord lays on the tangent plane. Are we looking edge on to the tangent plane? Or is the tangent plane vertical to my eye as I look at this wedge diagram? I don't see a tangent plane or line anywhere in this diagram.
Everything is relative to you.
What's a tangent, Rumpus? Tell us.
Yeah, sit down, little girl. Sit down.
The gradient of a curve at a point
Yeah, sit down, little girl. Sit down.
Never take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they do is in vain.
For clarification on what we're looking at, don't assume I know, because I made it clear I didn't know.
I know,
even
like,
said-
but I don't assume you know anything, Sean.
Okay,
Absolutely.
fine. It's fine. It's been clarified.
Nobody
that
assumes
I
Sean
definitely about
knows
this picture,
fucking
and it would still
anything.
need to be clarified what you're trying to explain to me.
What do you write about?
I'm right about everything I say.
Okay.
I know the game that you're playing.
So through a theodolite,
And I know exactly what's on your
say on the
mind.
auto level, you're gonna see
You got your playbook, it's alright.
how kilometers.
Your model dictates what you will find.
8 kilometers.
Yeah, he's not.
I don't know
It's a long way.
where all of this goes.
It is a very, very, very long
Don't
way.
take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they say is in vain.
And much longer than it would seem,
Never take advice from fools.
and I appreciated at the time.
We all know what they do is in vain.
I was just
And I
asking if you
understand
knew
what
what a
you're
tangent
saying.
was.
Yes, I do. And I also understand that there are, depending on the method, the definition of the tangent would change.
The gradient of a curve is a tangent at a point, and it's worked out by the differential of the equation for the curve, as determined by calculus.
It's really
none of
flat
which
and
you
level
understand.
now.
A real
Yeah, this is
observation that he's made.
Blue's
on the surface.
explanation of how the GPS works for when Jesse was
Oh.
driving over the bridge.
Then what's wrong about it?
Well, I mean, can you not tell?
No, tell me.
He's got a tangent plane there. And he's got,
You
like,
can't
it
create
seems like he's got elevation, like a height above the tangent plane. So
Okay.
that elevation is an elevation change, and therefore he's verifying the elevation change of 28.5 meters. I mean, that's what Jesse said in the thing. I think that's what Blue was doing. He was showing that there's a vertical plane there, and the height of the water in the middle, the elevation height, right, above that straight line from each bit is 28.5 meters. I mean, it's brilliant.
Where
A vertical
does he show-
height change of 28.5 meters.
does
Fantastic.
does she show the water level surface?
Yeah,
in
yeah,
any of
Jesse
this?
does. He's there.
Okay, so this is when the picture you just shared is missing the representation of where the water level is.
You'll have to, green somewhere in there. I'm not too sure whether he said the GPS elevation, it's got like a little 2 bits and showing the difference where the GPS elevation's measured from. And that you had the height of the causeway above the GPS.
Okay, so what
'Cause
you're
that's
saying
what he
is
was
that
saying.
the
Yeah.
tangent plane he's created, you're saying that can't be created.
I'm saying it's not. I wouldn't consider that a tangent plane. I mean, that's a little
Why?
bit silly, isn't it?
Why not?
Because he's got it labelled as a tangent plane.
What's wrong about that?
It's not a tangent plane,
Why
is
not?
it? Why not?
Yeah.
It's on the wrong side, isn't it? Do you know what? Do you know much about geometry, maths, and
No, but okay. So
So am I looking edge on to the tangent plane, or is the tangent plane orthogonal to the chord?
the only time you would use that measurement is, say, if you're, showing the distance between 2 points on a globe on a picture, but as a measurement, you don't measure that. You don't measure the hump. There is no hump. You don't see that. You don't
horizontal
look up.
paradox? Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the tangent plane here refers to. It's pointing to a chord. I don't know why. I don't know the context. I haven't seen the video.
You don't understand.
I don't understand what.
You don't understand.
I don't understand.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You just don't
this is a chord going through the earth from one shoreline to another shoreline, then that elevation is the sagitta, right, from that chord.
So you could easily show, by creating a horizontal plane over water, the drop from that horizontal.
Correct.
Why not make a video?
I will be doing that very shortly. And I gave you the coordinate of one of the points on the curve. You couldn't work out what the gradient is. You don't know that it's a tangent. You know.
It's not a tangent. The gradient isn't a tangent, Rumpus.
You don't know what a tangent is, Bev.
Yeah, but that's not what the gradient is. So
you don't know what a tangent is. I don't understand what.
You don't understand.
I don't understand.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
Yeah, we don't ever observe that. We don't measure that tangibly in our observations. That is I would say a referencing picture of it, but there is no actual hump.
Is this like new maths or
no? That's just reality.
It's definitely not reality.
No, it is reality. You can create a model of something, and if you want to have internal measurements of it, split that model in half and do those measurements, which is exactly what that represents.
I don't thank Blue for this picture. It's doing wonders.
Well, I just explained it to reality versus the model of what he's measuring. That's a measurement done against a model, not a measurement done on Earth, on surface, in reality.
He's talking about that one that Jesse Kozlowski drove over in his car.
I didn't see that video.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own. No reason, no logic, no wisdom, no worries. You're just on your own. No reason, no logic, no answers to questions. You're just on your own.
To have a tangent, Sean, what else do you need with the tangent? What is it? You need a straight line and a what?
Surface.
The surface?
A point, another point. I don't know how specific
What,
you want it to be.
What, so you don't need a circle then?
No, you can do a tangent on a cliff.
Video where Jesse puts the GPS unit on the roof of his car.
No, but I told you I don't like those channels.
And then drives over. Oh, he did it a few years ago, man.
Good evening, Brenda.
What is hump day? Other than, of course, Wednesday.
Hump day is when the model afflicted envision the water between two people humping.
Yeah, nobody does that, dude.
It's what you get when you get two nutsack drops.
I don't know what that is.
Two nutsack drops make a hump.
No idea what that means.
Well, that's what it does. I'm just telling you.
The thing is that Globers don't think there is a vertical hump between any two people on the globe. Nobody thinks that.
Yeah, they do. You've got Hoymar that said it's our vertical plane, a 28-meter rise on the vertical plane. You've got Blue.
Jesse Kozlowski said it.
Yeah.
Blue said it as well.
I'm sure they did.
Are you saying they're not Globers?
Well, I'm sure they used the word. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but you understand that words have meaning within a context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when they say it's on a vertical plane, a rise of 28 meters, I assume that they mean a rise of 28 meters on the vertical plane.
Yeah, that was your mistake, you assume.
Well, why don't you, Brenda, the great wise surveyor Brenda, tell us about your 2D surface and how the vertical plane rise of 28 meters isn't actually a rise of 28 meters. You go on.
What are you talking about? A vertical plane? What vertical plane are you talking about?
Do you not even know what a vertical plane is, Brent?
I know what a vertical plane is.
Well, why are you asking what a vertical plane is?
I don't know what that's in reference to.
A 28.5 meter hump in the middle of a vertical plane. A rise across a chord on a vertical. Yes, Brenda.
I'm
a
really sorry.
28.5 meter hump.
Just a minute. I'm really sorry, but when you say there is a X-sized hump in the middle of a vertical plane, it just makes no sense to me at all.
That makes sense to me. That it makes no sense to you.
Well, maybe you could help me to figure out other than what you've said so far, because that's not helping.
Do you know what vertical is?
Yes.
Right. Now, can you imagine a vertical height of 28 meters in front of you?
You mean a hill?
Yeah, like a big, massive tower, 90 feet tall. Let's just say a big stick.
A hill.
Now, so you can imagine that is a 28.5 meter rise in front of you on a vertical plane.
What do you mean on a vertical? What is this vertical plane about? It's not making sense. I can imagine.
Can you imagine a plane?
Just a minute. I can
in
imagine
the vertical position.
Do you have to interrupt people?
I was just saying, I'm trying to help you along.
Yeah, but you were over talking me.
It's pretty simple. A plane in the vertical position.
Yes,
it's not that hard to imagine, surely.
I can imagine a 28 meter tall building. Is that what you want me to imagine?
Well, without the building. So you can imagine that 28 meter vertical plane with a point at the top of it, right?
The point?
But then imagine that's a big fucking hump of water. Can you imagine that?
I mean, like a wave, a tidal wave.
Well, I don't know. Blue called it a slope, so you can imagine it as some sort of a pyramid thing if you want, as like a slope all the way.
A pyramid?
Yeah, if you want.
What do you mean a pyramid?
What? Do you not know what a pyramid is now? Fucking hell, Brenda.
I know what a pyramid is.
Oh, you do know what a pyramid is. So why are you asking what's a pyramid?
Because I'm not understanding how you're using it.
A slope. Do you know what a slope is, Brenda? Do you know what a slope is?
On a hill.
A slope.
Yeah, slopes are on hills.
Right, okay. Well, imagine at the top of a slope that goes from your feet, it goes up 28.5 meters. And then it slopes back down again 28.5 meters to the other side. You're making like an isosceles triangle. Do you know what an isosceles triangle is?
Can I ski on this hill?
Do you know what an isosceles? You can get a skateboard, I think.
Yeah, Well,
you don't want to be robbing the skateboard paradox, do you?
Well, we're in Minnesota, so you can't skateboard today.
Yeah,
because it's all
on the bridge. You can't ski. You can't ski on bridges. Yeah.
So you'd have to ski or sled. Maybe go sledding down the hill.
Yep.
Right?
We're just talking about the non-existent slope all the way up for 28.5 meters on a vertical plane.
So I've got some news for you, Bab. Nobody, even Jesse Kozlowski, even Blue, nobody thinks that the water goes up a slope and then down on the other side.
No, Blue said it goes down, it slopes away from you, Blue said. And that's what Jesse Kozlowski said as well.
I'm sure he said it slopes away.
Drops away,
He was kind of expecting you to sort of understand what he meant. And that was his mistake.
But he did put a 28.5 meter hump in the middle. Like, while saying it slopes away, he put a vertical plane and a 28.5 meter hump, like a rise, which isn't a drop at all.
Oh, it's not a rise, though. It's not a rise.
No, about 28.5 meters. It's like a distance, right? And I just think that 28.5 meters is actually, you know, on the vertical plane. It's above. It'd have to be. Jesse showed it as being above the level lines of each end.
Blue's mistake was in thinking that you had the cognitive
already did that.
Be quiet. Stop yelling at people.
Blue made loads of mistakes.
Manners. Learn some manners, child.
Don't swear, Brenda, please.
Jesus, I'm just talking nicely with Bev here.
There's no need to blaspheme either.
Learn some manners.
Salting him as you do it.
Fuck off.
I said
you don't have the cognitive dissonance to understand what Blue is saying.
That's not what I was. That's not what I was going to say.
You're calling Bev dumb.
No. She was saying that Blue made lots of mistakes.
Yes. His mistake was in thinking that Bev has the cognitive capability of understanding, right, the context
of the hump,
the use of sloping of the hump,
the hump slope.
Yes, you're not capable
sloped
of understanding it, Bev.
That's having a nice conversation. She's a piece of shit.
Maybe you explain it, Brenda.
Yeah. Piece of shit.
Yeah, there's no hump. There's no hump.
Well, what's from the tangent line, shore to shore on Lake Pontchartrain? What's the 90 feet in the middle? What do you call that?
From the tangent line
or chord line?
I have no idea what you're talking about. So
it was Brenda. It was Blue that called it a tangent line, right?
You're saying we can't understand Blue. And I'm asking you to explain what Blue was meaning by the tangent line and the water being 90 feet above the tangent line in the middle of a 24-mile-long bridge. Maybe you're smart enough to help us understand what Blue meant by that.
Oh, is he talking about the hump in the bridge? That is to allow ships to pass underneath? Is that what he meant?
The water. Didn't I say the water? Are you smart enough to understand what I'm saying? The hump in the water, 90 feet hump of water above the tangent line that Blue said he had.
So he's making a line between one end of the bridge and the other end? Is that correct?
Shoreline to shoreline, and he has a 90-foot hump in
shoreline.
The middle.
Right, and there's a sagitta, right?
You might want to ask Blue that. He said it was a tangent.
Yeah, have a look.
The sagitta.
Hey, have a look, Brenda. Can you see the main chat, the live chat?
Yes, I can.
Right,
yes,
so can you see the tangent plane that Rakia is talking about? I know you may not recognize it as a tangent plane, but I mean, that may be where Rakia may have picked it up from Blue. How do you think Blue's done within that? Might that be one of the mistakes that Blue made?
He's not capable of understanding this.
So the tangent plane, is that the arrow?
He's got a chord marked as a tangent plane. Now that is the tangent plane that Rakia was talking about. Now, is that one of the mistakes that Blue has made, Brenda? Or are you agreeing with Blue that is a tangent plane?
So I was asking you a question before you rudely talked over me. So please don't do that, right? I was asking you, is this tangent plane the sagitta of that chord that goes from the big yellow dot to the other yellow dot? Is that what you're talking about?
That's the one that Blue has labeled tangent plane. Are you saying the chord is the one that Blue has labeled tangent plane? Are you saying that Blue has made a mistake and he has labeled the chord a tangent plane. I've even underlined it for you, just so you know that he's labeled the chord a tangent plane. Okay?
Yes, I understand that. Yes, that's
right.
Yes.
So that's the mistake that Rakia has made in thinking that when Blue labeled that, Rakia might have thought that was actually a tangent plane, right? You're going to put Rakia right and say, no, Rakia, that's a mistake. Blue actually made a massive mistake by labeling a chord on a picture a tangent plane, because it's definitely not a tangent plane, that is it?
Well, the chord could be on the tangent plane, couldn't it?
Could it?
Sure. That's what I think that is. That's definitely, it's a tangent plane.
Yeah.
Right.
And how can that chord lie on a tangent plane? How is that possible, Brenda? A tangent plane of another circle?
So
a different curve, right? It would have to be a different curve, because there's no possible way that could be a tangent plane for that curve whilst being a chord of that curve. I mean, it's just not possible, is it, physically?
Yeah. Please
even
stop
conceptually.
Talking. Please. Right?
I'm just trying to get this geometrical, the simpletons done for. Right?
Please.
Don't worry about it.
Stop over talking.
You're the one supposed to be listening to him. How about you?
No. Well, he asked me a question, and I'm trying to answer him.
Come across. Just shut the fuck up and listen.
No, he asked me a question. I'm trying to answer him.
He trying.
No, you keep over talking me.
Okay, well,
so
do better than try this time. Go.
Oh, okay. A chord is a line, right? And lines can lay on a tangent on a plane, can't they?
No, it's a tangent plane. Don't forget the word tangent.
Not for the same curve, Brenda. Absolutely not. Impossible. You cannot have a chord associated with a curve also be a tangent plane for that same curve. It's impossible, Brenda. Impossible.
Two different lines, right?
The chord is a straight line. This chord is a straight line.
Yeah, but it would be two different lines, right, Brenda? If it was on the same circle.
And the tangent plane contains the chord, right? The chord lays on the tangent plane.
Brenda, come on.
The chord lays on the tangent plane.
Like the chord is inside the circle, the tangent is outside the circle. Like there's two completely in and out, two complete opposites, Brenda. So once again, thank you. You are one of the best people for bringing us the P fallacy, right? I think that is P or not P. Either P or not P. Either inside or outside. Tangent or chord. You can't be both, Brenda. It's not allowed. The law of non-contradiction, it cannot be P and not P. It cannot be inside and outside. Not possible, Brenda.
The chord, which is the green straight line in this diagram.
The one that Blue's labeled tangent.
Tangent plane.
Yeah.
Right.
Why do you think Blue didn't use the word chord there?
Are we looking edge on to the tangent plane, or is the tangent plane vertical to my eye as I look at this wedge diagram?
You mean the sector?
Yeah, the section. I have a section of a sphere here. So am I looking edge on to the tangent plane, or is the tangent plane orthogonal to the chord?
That looks that looks like, Brenda, it's inside the circle. Can we just confirm that what you are calling the tangent plane that Blue has labelled tangent plane, obviously it should have been chord, but that bit, can we confirm that is inside the circle that's associated with that? Right, okay. So do you know where the tangents go?
I don't know what it's tangent to.
A tangent is it touches the curve at one point and one point only. Right? Outside.
So I don't know what it's tangent to. I just don't know. I'm not understanding the context here. I'm really.
Well, we were talking about the bridge and the water, Brenda.
Could it be tangent? Could it possibly be tangent to the chord that Blue hasn't labelled in that picture?
I don't know.
You don't know. Brenda, you don't know. Look, can I just clarify this? You don't know whether a tangent could be possibly tangent to a chord or not. Can I just clarify? You have no idea, right? So that just disqualifies you for talking about anything to do with geometry, right? Thank you very much, Brenda. Yes, you know absolutely nothing about this.
Said, I don't know because you were rudely over talking me.
No, you said you don't know because you obviously don't know.
I said I don't know to get you to shut up.
You say I don't know all the time, Brenda. It's the most.
So Bev, yeah, sit down, little girl, sit down. So Bev, that green section is. So Bev, that green section, is that part of the tangent plane? That green section.
Brenda. You are fucking stupid. It's inside the circle. The tangent is outside the circle. If you know what a tangent plane is, and if you had any inkling at all, you would know it's outside of the circle.
Well, then I don't.
So it cannot possibly be a tangent. That's why I said to you at the beginning, but you obviously don't know anything. I was checking to see whether you knew that Blue had fucked up.
I don't.
And you obviously don't. No.
I don't see
a tangent. For that.
I don't see a tangent plane or line anywhere in this diagram.
But even where it says tangent plane and a big arrow to it.
I have no idea what that is supposed to mean.
I know, yeah.
So why the hell are you talking then?
Don't know.
Because you asked me. So I don't know what he's talking about when he
labels the chord. You don't know shit about tangents. Obviously, Brenda.
Brenda's obviously the sort of person that watches Blue. And like you learn from Blue, don't you? Like, obviously, you've never watched this video and you don't know fucking anything about it at all. But you're quite willing to be able to argue Blue's tangent plane inside the circle.
Bev, I haven't seen this video.
Blue wouldn't do something such fucking stupid as that, would he? It must be a trick.
I don't know what this is in reference
to. He's done it. He's probably done it to catch out the stupid flat earthers that don't realise that it's not a tangent.
Which is all you ever
don't know where a tangent is.
You're extremely rude, Bev. You're extremely rude and inconsiderate.
Fuck me.
No, nobody's done that in 20 years, dear. So I don't know what the tangent plane here refers to. It's pointing to a chord. I don't know why. I don't know the context. I haven't seen the video. So
what about the elevation above the tangent plane? What do you think he means by that? See that other? You know,
I assume.
He took time to make this, right? He typed all this in, drew arrows, vectors, humps from the tangent plane. And you've come in here and you're defending it.
I am not.
You agreed it was a tangent plane.
I've just told you I don't see a tangent plane anywhere.
Okay. So what do you think he means by the elevation above the tangent plane?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
No, you've seen the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think he means in the picture by elevation above the tangent plane? I mean, just in your own opinion.
If this is a chord going through the earth from one shoreline to another shoreline, then that elevation is the sagitta, right, from that chord.
You mean the point in the middle of that would be higher than each shoreline?
Sagitta. Do you know what the sagitta is?
Do you know what a hump is?
No, I'm talking about a sagitta. I'm not talking about a hump.
Yeah.
Right. So you think you may... Yeah, exactly.
He's relabeling Blue's diagram, right? Brenda, knowing absolutely nothing about this, right? Obviously, because Brenda's shown us he knows fuck all about it. But you're willing to say that he's definitely labelled that wrong, right? Tangent plane should be chord, and the elevation above tangent plane should be something like a sagitta or something like that.
I don't know that.
Even you know that. I mean, you know fuck all about anything.
But you
can you imagine how stupid Blue must be? Right, he's gonna fight. You should have told him beforehand. You shouldn't have let him put this out, Brenda. You should have
What is your problem, Bev? What is your problem?
You should have got the council to advise him beforehand and said, "Blue, don't bother doing that."
Did you question Blue on this?
Why would I question him? I haven't seen it.
You just saw it. Shouldn't you go question?
I think you should be right over there now. We should still be up, shouldn't he?
It's got his name on
time.
Brenda. Out of context. The context is Blue made this, put it out into the public.
It's not context.
Yeah,
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
It's what we're talking about.
The one you didn't see, is that a context? The one that you didn't see, now you're saying is that a context?
I'm looking at the image called Try Thinking, Lake Pontchartrain Truth Bending, and
that's Blue's video.
I haven't seen the video. I don't know what it's talking about.
This is Blue's drawing.
You asked me questions about it.
Blue's drawing. I don't know whether he got given it or something.
Best to answer.
Do you think he has a graphic artist, or do you think Blue's done this himself? Do you think somebody might be having their head on the chopping block for handing this to Blue? Or do you reckon Blue's done it himself and he's going to be going, who didn't fucking tell me I've made a mistake like that? It's me calling it a tangent plane. Why didn't you tell me it was a chord?
Bev,
I look like a right fucking dickhead. He wouldn't say that, would he?
Blue uses AutoCAD. Bev. Stop mumbling, Bev. Stop mumbling. Blue uses AutoCAD and he makes his diagrams himself. He's an engineer, so he's perfectly capable of making accurate drawings.
He should know what a chord is then, shouldn't he?
As an engineer.
Well, you know, I'm going to have to go look at it and see.
Maybe he's just a woodworking engineer. What do you think?
Maybe you should just maybe you shouldn't expect when you spring something on somebody and they don't know the context, then you shouldn't expect them to be able to answer.
We gave you the context. You're just using that as an excuse. What about the pylons he has there, Brenda? You see the pylons he has going all in the same direction as they go over his pump of water?
Those aren't what? The red lines?
Yeah.
Those aren't pylons, moron.
What are they?
What? That's shading. That's shading.
No.
That's shading. It's commonly used in engineering drawings. That's shading, just like the green is shading. You're indicating a solid.
The red arc line that says GPS elevation, that's the top deck of the bridge, Brenda. What's holding up the bridge or pylon?
Yes, and those red lines are not pylons, dude. They are. That's just shading.
So now all of a sudden you know this? How do you know that?
Yes, because I'm not a moron.
So not pylons.
Shading of the bridge, is it?
Shading the underneath the bridge in between the water that's humping and the bridge that's humping.
Yeah.
Sagitta.
Yeah. It's definitely not this
above the tangent plane.
Absolutely not the shortest distance between those 2 points, is it?
I think it would be the longer distance.
It looks like it.
Looks longer to me. Maybe we should ask.
Brenda doesn't know. Brenda doesn't know fuck all about anything.
She
Does
knew
know
all
a bit
about
more
straight-
about the lines and the bits of a circle than Blue, though. Seeing as Blue's an engineer. Brenda, what qualifications have you got? Have you got an engineering qualifications? Are they above Blue's? Where does that come in, the geometry stakes of knowing parts of a circle?
She laughed. Whatever. Wow.
That's good.
Bev, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what a tangent is. Let's look it up.
Utter. Tangentless.
You're not smart enough to know what Blue was thinking when he put tangent plane on the chord line.
Wow, man.
I've got is Rumpus still in here? Has he gone?
I've just had a look at this video you're talking about, and
Blue's video.
Blue's video.
Yeah.
And he refers to it as a chord line.
A tangent plane, Rumpus.
He refers to it as a chord line. It's a 59 minutes in the video. Try thinking, and he refers to it as a chord line.
No, look, elevation above a tangent plane and a tangent plane. He's got arrows. He's done yellow arrows and everything. Rumpus.
Line. I have just looked at it.
Well, yeah, it's there in the chat.
As a chord line.
It's there in the chat, Blue. Rumpus, have a look.
Yeah, I know. And
I've taken directly from his video.
I know, and I've just looked at the video, and he refers to it as a chord line.
Does he? He refers to it as a chord, but labels it a tangent plane and puts a big fucking arrow there pointing to it as though it's a tangent plane. So, are you brave enough and man enough to admit that Blue fucked up, or are you going to try and defend it as a tangent plane like Branda did? So what about that being a tangent plane? Is that what you call it?
No, I'd call it a chord line. I agree with Blue. It's a chord line.
So is that code then? Tangent plane, is that code for a chord line?
I don't know why he's referring to a tangent plane, but he refers to it in the video as a chord line.
Because he says there elevation above the tangent plane as well. He calls it the tangent plane.
He refers to it as a chord line.
To be fair, Rumpus, if you agree with Blue, then you also agree that it's a tangent plane.
He refers to it as a chord line.
By the drawing that he made?
In the video, he refers to it as a chord line.
Yeah, but in the drawing...
In the video, he refers to it as a chord line.
You sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
Rumpus. We're asking you about...
repeating the fact. It's a fact.
We understand.
It is a fact.
Rumpus.
He refers to it as a chord line repeatedly. I've just looked at it. And
we heard
he refers to it as a chord line.
Oh, in the video, right?
Yes, in the video, he refers to it as a chord line.
All right, got that straight. Thanks, Rumpus. 10th time. Hey, how about that drawing that Blue did?
I don't understand why he's referred to it as a tangent plane. But
you think he's wrong? You think he's made a mistake?
I would have to. He was trying to make a point about what Jesse Kozlowski was measuring.
Yeah, so you think Jesse's wrong too? Because Jesse definitely said elevation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hump, 90 feet at the 12-mile mark.
And it's definitely, that was a vertical plane that was established by Hoymar.
Well, obviously, the elevation, it's not elevation, was not a word I would use. The distance between that chord line and the peak of the bridge would be 90 feet. That's fine.
On a vertical plane, right?
No, it's not vertical. Well, it's vertical at one point, but the chord, it's a perpendicular to the chord.
Be vertical all the way across, wouldn't it?
No, it's
it has to be,
Yeah.
right?
at that angle. No, verticals.
It's
are not
verticals
parallel,
wherever you are, right, Rumpus?
At every
Verticals are
point.
not parallel.
At every point you are, as he was
You are.
going over there, that it was vertical, right?
And those
Yep.
parallels and those verticals are not parallel. Yeah, the vertical.
If
changes
it's
all the way
vertical, and no, but the vertical plane, Rumpus, the entire vertical plane is vertical,
There
right?
is no vertical plane.
What?
Every point on the bridge has its own vertical. There's no such thing as there's no vertical plane that applies to all the points on the bridge.
Of course there is. There's a vertical plane, definitely, yes.
There are radials. There are verticals, all not parallel.
Rumpus, you can't do your maths, Rumpus.
Every single point
Rumpus, you cannot find your triangle to find the center of the presupposed fucking sphere if you do not have the plane, Rumpus.
What are you about? Triangles. What are you gibbering about?
Well, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. Forget about that. And bam! Forget about that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about his maths that he did.
You don't even know what a tangent is. You don't even know what the
Oh, here we go.
curve is.
Here we go.
You don't know what a tangent is. You don't know what the gradient of curve is.
You've tried that before, Rumpus. It didn't work last time. At all. You made yourself look like a tit.
You know nothing about the subject.
You did worse than Brenda just did, actually, last time you decided. You had to Google what a tangent was, Rumpus.
Well, I had to make sure. I wondered if there was a tangent was ever referred to in a horizontal condition, but it does seem as though it's usually used with a curve. But you don't know what a tangent is. You don't know how it relates to the gradient of curve. You can't work out the gradient of a curve. You know nothing about.
Yeah, we did. We went over it, Rumpus. We also exposed you as not knowing what the fucking gradient of a curve is. The gradient. Yeah.
You don't know anything about calculus, and if I asked you to work out the gradient of a curve, let's say a parabola, y is equal to x squared, and I gave you the coordinate of one of the points on the curve, you couldn't work out what the gradient is. You don't know that it's a tangent. You know.
It's not a tangent. The gradient isn't a tangent, Rumpus.
You don't know what a tangent is, Bev.
Yeah, but that's not what the gradient is. So
you don't know what a tangent is.
You'd be struggling if you were trying to say about a tangent.
What's a tangent, Rumpus? Tell us.
It's the gradient of a curve at a point.
Do you want me? I'll do a really quick Google for a.
You don't know what a tangent is, and you. Don't
As I recall, Rumpus, last time you were here, wasn't it you that wasn't sure what a tangent was, and you had to look it up?
Well, I was unsure whether or not you could consider.
Well, I was.
Be quiet, twat. Be quiet, be quiet, silly woman.
Hey, come on, Rumpus.
Yeah, well, she interrupted.
Where's your manners?
Yeah, well, she didn't have any manners. She started interrupting me as I was speaking.
Don't do it again.
I was wondering whether you could consider a line as having a tangent, but I decided in the end you couldn't. But that's not the point. Bev doesn't understand that the gradient of a curve at a point is a tangent. The most basic part of understanding what a tangent is, and this guy doesn't know it.
I'm going to put a picture in here, Rumpus, right? I'm going to point out to the fact I told you about the X and the Y axis, right? There you go.
He doesn't understand that the gradient of a curve at a point is a tangent. It's absolutely fundamental.
The gradient
that 15-year-olds have to understand.
The gradient is the radius and the relationship on the XY axis of the point at which the end of. Have a look in the chat, Rumpus. I mean, everybody else will be able to look at it. The gradient's a line, Rumpus. Yeah.
You do not know how.
They have the two lines in that picture have the same gradient, Rumpus.
Nothing to do with, we're talking about gradients of curves here.
No, it's the point on the edge of the circle would be 1 point. The center of the circle would be the other point, and you would get the gradient of the line from the center to the point where it is on it's a line, Rumpus. It's okay.
You just demonstrate you know nothing about this subject. Nothing. Absolutely zero. You are educationally ignorant of this entire subject.
The gradient is a relationship of the rise over the run. It's a bit like a elevation. slope in reality. There's a very direct relationship of a gradient into reality. Rakia would know what a gradient is because that's what he does with his concrete. He puts slopes to it. That's what a gradient is.
Determine the gradient of a curve, and you can't do it.
It's got nothing to do with the tangent, though. That's the point, Rumpus.
A 14 or a 15-year-old.
Rumpus, it's getting tedious. We get it. You think he doesn't understand. We get it. Make another point.
Right. Wait a minute. No, please. Don't just say he doesn't think I understand. I don't care about Rumpus. I don't care about Rumpus. I want to know that you people are understanding what a gradient is. Just so you know. Rumpus.
You don't understand what a gradient of a curve is.
I've just told everybody, Rumpus, but you've talked all over it. Does everybody understand what a gradient is?
There's no curve in this, Bev. And the fact that you referred
you would put the centre at 1 point and the outside point at another, and you would put it on an XY at Rumpus. Shut the fuck up. Come on, Rumpus. Who's meant to be listening to you? You tell them then, Rumpus. You tell them what the gradient is. Go.
You do not know.
No, don't tell them what I don't know. You tell them, please.
Do you? If I gave you a circle, Bev,
don't tell me. Tell them, Rumpus, and then I'll have a go at telling them what the gradient is. That's fair, isn't it?
You would not be able to give me the answer because you
Rumpus,
don't know anything about analytical geometry. You don't know anything about maths. You don't know anything about calculus. You don't know anything about gradients or differentials or anything to do with calculus or anything to do with analytical geometry. You know nothing of this subject.
Explain it because he's just going on and on about what he thinks you know and don't know. So you obviously can't.
Well, then you doesn't.
You cannot explain what he asked you to explain, and you're being
when he's over talking me. He keeps on over talking me. So I refuse to allow.
Are you serious, Rumpus?
I'm very serious.
Are you serious? You said the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but the point
you're talking over me. You're talking over me. You're talking over me.
Okay,
you see how this works?
Yeah,
I don't need your permission.
Okay, let me make my point then.
Let me show you. Let me show you whose point was made here.
Go on, make your point.
We'll just see how this is made.
Make your point.
I don't need your permission. Thank you, Rumpus.
No, don't press your luck, Rumpus. I'll boot you
later,
myself.
buddy.
Well, go ahead. Make your point, and then I'll respond.
My point is, as soon as I mute you, you're going to deafen yourself and you're going to leave. All you did was come here and talk me, and you're over-talking me again. And I'm making a point, and you're over-talking me. And I'm trying to make a point, and as I was trying to make a point, you're over-talking
everybody constantly he doesn't agree with. That's
he is a moderator here, Rumpus.
Yeah, but you over-talk everybody, Bev. You never allow...
I've just listened to you talk shite for ages. You've done nothing.
I never allow...
Did you hear me? Do you hear me talking right now, Rumpus? Rumpus, do you hear me talking right now as you complain about over-talking?
People to have opposing
Rumpus,
this is
the only reason I haven't
Rumpus.
do it yet is I can't do it for some reason.
You can't.
Did you hear me trying to make a point, Rumpus?
Well, go ahead, make a point. Go ahead.
Oh, you don't mind, right? As you talk right through me while you're complaining about people talking through you, you moron! You're not intelligent. You don't understand. You don't understand I'm a moderator here. You obviously don't understand I'm a moderator here.
I do understand that.
You do. So if you talk over me, you understand that you're going to get booted.
Well, yes, but I have not been...
Okay, so why are you over-talking me?
How about my... When do I get a turn then, Rakia?
Because I haven't made my point.
When do I get a turn to speak?
I'm still making my point, right? You've spoken the whole time. Okay, I don't need your permission.
Do I get a turn to speak as well?
No, you don't. So
there you go then. You see, there's the problem.
You've been talking this whole time. You won't let me even make a point.
You're interrupting.
Yeah, you won't even let me make a point. I'm still talking. I'm still talking.
Well, make your point then.
Yeah, you don't mind if I make my point. It's a little long, right? You think I can... I don't need your permission again.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you sure you're smart? Are you sure you're smart? You can't even shut up. You can't even go on mute.
Do I get a turn,
And you keep telling me it's okay if I talk and make my point. You're not even smart enough to understand.
What? Your turn to what?
You've been speaking constantly for the last 2 minutes. Do I get a turn to speak?
Your turn to what?
As soon as I'm done, you get all the time that I'm going to give you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you don't mind, right? So you'll go on mute and shut up while someone else speaks and makes a point without giving them permission, and you're still speaking.
Yeah, but I've yet to be able to finish.
My point is, I know, and you're still speaking.
I have not been able to finish a single sentence
You just don't understand how to make a sentence. Because you've given plenty of time, and you're still talking while I'm trying to make.
But I haven't been able to finish a single sentence.
And you're still talking to a moderator, over talking a moderator.
Tell me when I get a chance to finish a sentence.
I'm just proving a point.
Tell me when I get a chance to finish a sentence.
I'm just telling everyone here how intelligent someone is, says they are, but can't even let a moderator talk and make a point without interrupting. Just like this moron just did again. Just like this moron. Because the whole time I've spoken, you have cut in and
you're not letting me have a finish a sentence.
Make one point. I've just made a point.
Several points, and you've said repeatedly.
This is how intelligent this guy is. He can't even be quiet. This is how dumb this guy is.
I'm happy to give you a chance to speak.
He pretends. He comes in here and tells everyone else how they don't understand and how they're dumb. But he is actually.
Oh, come on, guys. This is getting bad.
Constantly.
What are you talking about me, Rumpus? Stop. Get me off your fucking mind, please. You've just been talking to Rakia there.
You overtalk everybody. You have not let me finish a sentence.
You've not said anything.
You have not let me finish a single sentence.
But that's true, Beth.
You have not let me finish a single sentence, Bev. And Paige as well. You've not let me finish a single sentence.
Rumpus, you've said. You've not let me finish a single sentence. Correct. Unaided, right? And you've said it many times already, so you have actually finished that sentence.
I want to say. That's not the sentence I want to say.
You keep saying that sentence. Why don't you say the sentence you want to fucking say?
You always overtalk people, Bev. You never allow them to finish a sentence.
That's true. That's true, Bev. That happens a lot. It happens with me, too.
You've just you cut Rumpus off there, Brenda. That's not right. Brenda, can you please stop cutting Rumpus off?
He was done
okay.
Talking.
Rumpus was just about to tell us about the gradient of a curve. Tell everybody else, sorry, because he's told me that I don't know. So if he could just inform everybody else, so they can inform me, that'd be great. Go on, Rumpus, please.
You do not understand that the tangent to a curve is the gradient at that point. You've demonstrated many, many, many times you do not understand this fundamental concept. And because you don't understand that, you don't understand, for instance, that you can have an angle between two curves. You've repeatedly denied that's possible. Well, I'm afraid if you don't understand the fundamental properties of analytical geometry and calculus, you can't do things like say what the angle between two curves is. And Bev has said repeatedly that you can't work out the angle between two curves, which is fundamentally incorrect. Finished.
So is everybody understanding now? Can anybody tell me what the gradient of a curve is now, please? Because Rumpus obviously informed you. I wouldn't understand whatever he said. So one of you guys must have understood what Rumpus said then. So you might be able to explain it to me.
The gradient of a curve is a tangent at a point, and it's worked out by the differential of the equation for the curve, as determined by calculus, none of which you understand.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you were talking about the tangent to a curve and you introduced the centre of the circle means you don't understand the gradient of a circle. You keep on this diagram you've brought up, which is just to do with a straight line.
Yeah,
you haven't got a curve.
That's what the gradient is, Rumpus.
Right, but you haven't got it next to a curve, have you? You haven't got the gradient of a curve here.
Well, no, you put one. No, you put one point at the centre, and you put the other point at the tangent point that you want on the outside, and you fix it around the XY axis, and then you find the gradient of the radius to the point on the curve. It's pretty obvious how it works, Rumpus.
The fact that you have not got a correct diagram that refers to. The fact that you put these diagrams in here, which are not relevant to the subject of a tangent to a curve.
I was just trying to explain it myself the way I was explaining it to everybody, but I finally got it out there now. But if you could explain, you could try and explain that though. Go on, a bit better.
Explain what? The gradient of a curve.
Yes.
Gradient of a curve.
Exactly. How do they get the gradient of the curve for you?
They differentiate the function for the curve. But you don't know what I meant by that, did you?
How?
Because if you have an equation... Well, I'm telling you, let me answer then. When you have a curve, you usually have in analytical geometry a description, a mathematical description of that curve. If you have that, you can then do what's called differentiate. In calculus, you differentiate the function for the curve, and that gives you the gradient at any point on the curve, and that is a tangent to the curve. Finished.
Would it not just be the point on the curve? Once you map that out on the graph, then you can put the point and then put it to the gradient of the line with the x and the y axis, like we've done there.
That's
right?
Gibberish. You don't understand, do you?
Yeah, you can see that the gradient is a line.
Yes, we know that.
Right, and so what you do is you find the point on the curve, develop the line, and then get the gradient for that
You see, you don't,
line.
It's all a mystery to you, isn't it? You see, you've just demonstrated the whole subject is a complete mystery to you. You don't know anything about this at all, because you don't know anything about calculus. You don't know anything about differentiation. You've denied that the gradient of a curve at a point is a tangent. You've said you can't work out. You said you can't work out the angle of the two curves intersecting. This whole area is a complete mystery to you. Go ahead, Paige.
Talk about what you don't understand.
Go ahead.
So how is it wrong? Would it work?
What wrong?
What he said.
He doesn't understand how to do. If I give you a parabola,
No, I don't know what he understands or not. Would it work?
No. If I asked you to give you,
Why not?
if I give you a parabola, y is equal to x squared, and I said, give me the tangent at y at x is equal to 3, Bev would not be able to do it.
So what?
I'm asking. So what? That's fundamental. Anybody who understands anything about analytical geometry, or gradients, or curves, would be able to give me an answer.
What, x equals 3, did you say, Rumpus?
Educational ignorant.
Rumpus, did you say x equals 3?
Yes.
You want to find a tangent to x equals 3?
For the curve at the coordinate of x is equal to 3.
What curve?
I told you a parabola y is equal to x squared, and I asked
y is equal to x
squared. Give me the tangent at x is equal to 3 on that curve.
Okay, so like you've put it on a grid, right? So you can develop a line, and then you can get the gradient of that line by using the x and y axis, like I've just said, with rise over run.
Tell me what the gradient at x is equal to 3 on a parabola y.
Well, you'd have to draw it out on a graph, wouldn't you?
No, you don't. And that's because you don't know anything about this subject, because you're a fucking moron.
Wow,
you're educationally retarded.
Well, you obviously sound like a very intelligent person there, Rumpus.
Yes. Utter moron.
Yes.
You know less
you
than
obviously
a
sound like.
And you've just demonstrated just now you know nothing about this subject on which you claim to be an expert.
I've just said about a gradient, Rumpus. That's all. We were just doing the simple stuff about a gradient.
You are less well educated than a 14-year-old.
Well, you should definitely be able to tell everybody how this goes like this. Yeah.
Why you're so mad?
Because this guy is deceiving you. He knows nothing of this subject.
Like, there's loads of pictures. I've put loads of pictures in the chat of what a gradient is, Rumpus.
14-year-old, and you believe what he says.
It's okay.
He knows nothing.
They're very simple drawings about gradients, you know.
Nothing about
it's like high school stuff, Rumpus, the gradient.
Nothing about tangents. He denied that you can work out the angles between two curves.
It's like rise over run. I'll get you some more if you want,
He denied the tangents are the gradient of a curve at a point.
Oh, look.
He knows nothing, and you guys are believing him. You're making yourself look ridiculous.
Can you see what Brenda's put in there? She's put the gradient of a point on a curve. It develops a line and then does the rise over the run, just like we've said, Rumpus.
Like, that's the slope, right? That's the slope.
That's the gradient, yes.
Is slope equal to gradient?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, the slope.
Yeah, so that's what I've been saying all along. It's the rise
So
over
tell me
run
what
of the line.
gradient
So
is.
thanks for helping us out there.
So tell me what the gradient is of a curve y is equal to x squared at x is equal to 3.
Rumpus, it's not that sort of time of night, really, is it?
Can you? 14-year-olds
No, I don't know.
can do this, Bev,
Okay, well,
and you can't
brilliant.
because you're
I'm not.
remedial.
Yeah, obviously.
You are a moron.
And obviously, anyone that can't must be the same, right? Anybody that can't immediately do that thing that you've just said must also be the same as me. So, thank you very much, Rumpus. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously.
You're educationally
obviously, Brenda would be able to do it now and just show how brilliant Brenda is.
Brenda, you know about calc. Oh, she's just done a runner.
Oh, what? No way. That must leave you as the only person that can do that on the top of your head right now, Rumpus. So you must be the brilliant one. So just give us it now then. Go on.
It's 14-year-olds can do this.
14-year-olds? That's not a fucking answer for a gradient.
I could do this very thing. And everybody else in my
Well, go on. Tell us what you can do it now. You must be able to do it really quick now. What was it?
Right. If you knew about differentiation.
Yeah, if you knew what the answer was, you'd be telling us.
No, I'm explaining it to you how it comes about.
Are you Googling it?
Explaining is what people knew.
I'm not. I'm explaining.
Are you drawing it then? Or are you calculating it?
No, you don't have to do that. You see?
Okay.
You don't have to do any of that.
Are you going to give us the answer, or are you just going to avoid that as well?
I'm going to give you the answer. Okay, I'll give you the answer. The answer's 6.
6, nice. Wow.
And I can do that because I know about analytical geometry. I know about tangents. I know about calculus.
So what was it again then? What was the equation again, Rumpus?
And you don't know y is equal to x squared was the equation.
Y equals that, and what was the gradient at the x equals 3?
Non-analytical geometry in an archaic
was it
environment.
The gradient of the curve at x equals 3?
Geometry by construction. It doesn't do.
Is that what you said?
It doesn't do numbers and variables. It doesn't do what is actually useful in geometry. You know about as much as a 14-year-old doing a maths course. It's just ridiculous. And we've got people in here, like, oh, goodness who take your word for stuff when you could go and find a 14-year-old who would know more than you do.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing for everyone in here who takes your word for it. It's just ridiculous.
Right, so y equals... Did you say y equals x squared?
Average, and yet you're lecturing to other people who must be more stupid, even more stupid than you are, who have taken your word for these things.
Did you say...
You can't work out...
Did you say y over...
x squared. What do you not understand about
okay,
y is
and
equal to x
did you say it at 3?
Yes, x is equal to 3.
Okay. Like that, pretty much like that one that Brenda's put there. The gradient of the tangent at 2, 4.
Well, I mentioned 3. I didn't mention 2, 4.
Okay. So 3 would change a bit though, won't right? It'd be somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if that was 4, do you imagine that would increase to 6 if you lessen that gradient?
Lessen what?
Well, that's got like a slope of like 3 over 12. If you went a bit further up the graph, then that angle would obviously tilt a bit more, and it would be even more even than 3 and 12. It would be.
You're struggling, aren't you, Bev? You just don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Do you think you could get a 6 out of that?
Oh my God, Rumpus.
Paige, I'm only telling things that 14-year-olds understand, and apparently you and Bev don't. I'm
You're
sorry, what's your problem?
Rumpus, you're just telling me what you think he does and doesn't understand.
Well, he doesn't understand, does he? We've demonstrated. He thinks you can't work out the angle between two curves. He's denied that the gradient of a curve is a tangent. He's said all these things, and he can't work out a simple piece of differentiation. So I'm demonstrating to you with rock-solid evidence.
It's a horizontal paradox. It affects all sorts of people differently. Rumpus always goes like this. Don't worry about him. He doesn't mean it. It's just when he gets stressed and, gets under pressure.
I'm not under any pressure at all, except when you're over-talking me.
Oh, you think that's that's what puts you under pressure, is it? Just
I'm not under pressure.
Because I mean, like you don't. It's not as if you don't really get to talk. I mean,
you sound stressed out.
Subject.
Yeah, we heard you like 20 times. You do sound stressed, Rumpus. Are you okay?
Well, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I know you were having some trouble there for a while. We don't want to pressure you into something. I was just
fine. No, don't worry, Rakia. You carry on.
Yeah, I was just pointing out earlier by being you. You know how ridiculous I sounded earlier? I was just being you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, but the point was I was being overtalked. I hadn't been able to finish a single.
He was mirroring you.
Now maybe you missed that point because you thought about your next.
I understood exactly what you were doing, Rakia.
So you understand I was being you when I was being.
Do you understand that I was being subjected to the same thing by Bev all the time? He never lets anybody finish a sentence. He does it all the time.
I hear Bev all day, every day. And only you and a couple others act like this.
Yeah, when he's got somebody who can make him look like an idiot. Yes, exactly. That's when he starts to engage with the over-talking. He's not going to over-talk you, of course, because you agree.
No, when he has someone that's not called the rumpus. Usually the rumpus thing doesn't happen as you over-talk me as I make my point while complaining about someone else over-talking you again. You're an idiot.
Well, that's clearly not the case. You don't know anything about differentiation. You don't know about gradients on curves, and you believe what Bev says.
The answer's 6.
You the idiot.
Yeah, the answer's 6.
It's quite obvious. If you think what says Bev is correct, and for instance, you can't work out the angle between two curves, then that makes you even more stupid than Bev because you believe what he says.
I mocked you, and you thought I was being ridiculous. Who's the idiot here?
I never said you were ridiculous. You said that, not me. You just misremembered now. I never said you were ridiculous.
You said I was acting ridiculous.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I did when in reference to believing what.
So you're wrong again, right?
Well, I thought you were referring that you'd claimed that I'd said your behaviour to me when you were over talking was ridiculous. I didn't claim that was ridiculous.
Have you been right?
You were ridiculous in believing what Bev says about geometry.
What are you right about?
I'm right about everything I say.
Okay. Have you ever measured curved water?
Well, I'm about to do that with my rect experiment. I will be measuring the curve of the water.
Is that a no? Is that just a way of saying no?
Well, I'm about to.
About to, but no, you haven't so far.
Correct.
Thank you.
Fine. Sorted.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorted as in another person who claims to have a fantasy of curving water under their feet who has never measured it. You're just adding to a long list of people.
Yeah, it's just science. It's just reality.
No,
it's
really just everyone that's come here that's claimed that their religion states that water curves under their feet.
You think you throw in your
not
research.
One person. You're over talking me, Rumpus.
Yeah, but you're just projecting your religious zealot.
Right, but as you, I might be projecting.
Religious, is it?
But let me project, right, without interrupting me. Because if I sound like a projecting idiot, shouldn't you let me talk without you sounding like a bubbling idiot?
Well, no, I don't sound like an idiot.
You just joined another long list of people who have come here and who has never measured curved water, but who claims that it does in their fantasy model.
Yeah, just every other geodetic surveyor, every book on surveying, every scientific element on that subject says how it agrees with me or I agree with them.
Not one geodetic surveyor has ever measured curved water. Not one of them.
Of course they have. They're always measuring.
No, they haven't.
Of course they have.
No, they haven't.
I haven't.
Yes, of course.
Not one.
Surveyors are measuring the curve of the.
No, that's what you believe. That's what you believe. I said curved water.
Well, that's...
Yeah.
Well, they do things over water. They know it's curved. They've got surveying books.
They know it's curved. No, they believe it's curved, and they calculate it to be after they measure elevation change based on a horizontal plane.
They don't. I don't think they do.
I've never talked to one that has. I've never seen any literature that says they measure.
Don't give it to Rumpus that he have, like, right?
Any geodetic surveyor?
Yes, have you? Which you said they do. Okay, so which one? What's his name?
The only way
Jesse Kozlowski and the.
He's not a geodetic surveyor.
He is a geodetic surveyor.
Jesse Kozlowski is a geodetic surveyor. I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet.
Okay, we'll go and ask him.
No, how much? Let's make a bet. We'll get together.
No, I don't believe
I'll be in. So you don't want to bet?
No, I don't want to bet. No.
Yeah, you know you're wrong.
No, I'm
You
right,
just
right.
blurted out something where you know you're wrong now.
No, I'm right. Jesse
That's why you want. No, he's not.
A geodetic surveyor.
No, you're lying. Right?
He does. No, I'm not. He surveys.
I don't even. He doesn't even claim to be a geodetic surveyor. You claim that he is.
Well, he certainly does.
Act like one, right? On YouTube, right?
Well, let's go. Well, okay, I'll go and ask him. I've got.
Yeah, go ask him if he's a geodetic surveyor and get back to me if you're right or not.
You've got a direct line to Jesse Kozlowski, Rumpus.
Sorry?
You've got a direct line to Jesse.
I certainly have.
Wow. You know what that means, don't you?
Yep.
He's definitely not a real surveyor, isn't he? If he's on Team Rumpus.
This is someone who's a professional geodetic surveyor.
Oh.
Deary me.
Rumpus, Brenda, and now Jesse.
And
George, obviously, the connection there is with George, isn't it? It's pretty
book.
sure that Rumpus would be in with Jesse Kozlowski.
It's amazing you can pronounce on surveying without even owning a surveying book.
You just can't bear.
We can't hear you.
We just do, Rumpus, we just do simple stuff about horizontals being parallel. Don't worry about it.
Oh, every point on the surface of the Earth has a different horizontal and vertical. I'll be doing a video on this very shortly. And you'll be able to
wow, yeah.
And a website. So
at last, Rumpus will be shortly doing a video.
That's right. Well, you've yet to do a video that's actually not just some ramblings of the panel. So you're in no position to complain about other people doing videos.
What do you mean? We've done loads of tests. We've been out on the beach.
I've not seen a single video of yours.
Well, that's unfortunate.
In which you articulate some point or some.
Well, that's up to you, Rumpus. I mean, some things different types for different types of people, Rumpus. Perhaps we do stuff a lot too simple for you. Perhaps your brain is far too massive to cope with such a simple stuff that we deal with, like straight lines and horizontals being parallel to each other and triangles having 180 degrees. Triangles definitely have 180 degrees.
Not on the surface of a spherical geometry, they don't. And if you bother to look up spherical geometry and spherical triangles, you'd see that.
They definitely, all triangles have 180 degrees.
No, they
Rumpus.
don't. Go and look it up. Look up spherical triangles.
Even spherical triangles have 180 degrees,
they don't.
Rumpus.
Draw
they
a
do.
Triangle on the surface of a football, and you will see the angles add up to more than 180.
Well, they have 180 degrees at least.
Wait. Is there a difference between conceptual and reality?
It's real. If you go at geodetic surveyors, when they measure the angles between 3 points a long way away, the angles between them do not add up to 180.
You said spherical geometry. That's conceptual.
I did.
Reality.
I did say spherical geometry. I did say that, yes.
It's conceptual. It's not reality.
No, it's not. It's real. We can prove that. We can show that when you do geodetic surveying over long distances, you get angles of triangles being greater than 180. This is a proven fact.
Wow.
So how many dimensions are in spherical geometry?
Proven.
Yes, have you not seen the...
No, wait a minute. Rumpus just said it's a proven fact.
Proven fact.
That triangles have more than 180 degrees, Rumpus.
On the surface of the Earth, yes.
Might want to do a video of that.
Wow.
They've been observed.
Yeah, will you do a video of this, Rumpus?
Yeah, okay. I can do a video on spherical geometry, and also, I mean, MC Toon has done special.
Proven fact, Rumpus. You do realise what a proof is, well, especially as you're talking about geometry in reality. Then that proof must be a geometric proof in reality of triangles having more than 180 degrees. I mean, simple, Rumpus. That's what you've said.
Well, you said, wait. You said
simply define a sphere and then draw a triangle on it, and you can geometrically prove from deductive principles that the angles of those triangles will be more than 180 degrees. You don't even need to go outside and observe the Earth to do that. But when you talk about proof, that is a logical proof. When you talk about this, that's why we say science doesn't.
It's a logical proof that triangles have more than 180 degrees in reality.
Well, you have to observe that, because obviously we can't prove...
Yeah, you have to observe the angles in order to measure them. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely... Yeah.
And when we do that, when geodetic surveyors observe the angles between 3 points that are a long way apart, the angles between those 3 points add up to more than 180.
No, they don't. Don't be silly.
They do. MC Toon has got numerous documents on which he describes
I'd like to see how you managed to do that.
Conducted by which American...
Who are you getting in with this crowd then? Who are you pulling in with you? McToons, was it?
This is MC Toon's.
Right, okay, so Rumpus and McToons are going to do the geometric proof that triangles observed... Sorry, I mean, I nearly got that wrong. Observed triangles in reality from geodetic surveyors have triangles of more than 180 degrees. I look forward to it, Rumpus.
Okay, well, I could bother to make a video about it, but if you want to do it quickly, you could go to MC Toon's site, on which he's got several references.
I'll wait for your video, Rumpus. It's okay. I'm not going to that. He tracks IPs and all of that. He admits it. So I definitely... I don't advise anybody to go to McToons' website. He's admitted IP tracking people.
Well, he cites several American geodetic surveying documents which show what's called the spherical excess, in which a triangle has more than 180 degrees. So I should do a video on that actually. Bob the Science Guy has actually done videos on this already as well.
Wow. So, are they better than his shorter distance than a straight line ones? Because that was fascinating. That was a Rekia special.
You clearly misrepresent, as you.
Oh no! He definitely confirmed it over like 3 times at least.
No, he wouldn't have said that.
He definitely did. Do you want me to get you for? I'll get you the video, right? Then you can review it and have a look over it and just make sure.
I can verify Rumpus that he did say that, because guess who he told it to?
That the distance between 2 points is shorter than the straight line between them.
Yeah.
No, you misunderstood.
Over and over again.
Yeah, no, he did. He definitely confirmed it. It's a 9-minute video.
You misunderstood.
Definitely my misunderstanding. When I called him out on the very fact, was I misunderstanding him then too?
Yeah,
like when I was the one. Yeah, but I called him out on what he had said, and then he doubled and tripled down.
Well, you must have misunderstood, because he knows that's not
on video. I mean, it's recorded, Rumpus.
You must have misunderstood him.
How would I misunderstand if I called him out and pointed out his mistake, and he still said it again?
There must have been some special context in which he was making some point. Obviously, I don't. I don't know.
Yeah, he drove over a curved surface
experiment with blue
and said that was a shorter distance than a straight line. In his car, using the odometer and everything, took 2 different routes.
The Earth is a sphere.
Proved.
Well, he's probably not straight. Well, possibly what he means is a straight line on a map or something, rather than a straight line in actual geometry terms.
So now we're going to talk about what you think he thinks.
Well, I know that
not actually what he said.
That the shortest distance between point 2 and straight. So he couldn't have been talking about geometry. He must have been referring to, if I'd gone this straight line on a map, I may have gone over a mountain. So, for instance, if you draw a straight line on a map, but you go over Mount Everest, that would be rather longer than if you went round the side of a mountain and on a curve.
No, I was the one who pointed that out. And he agreed with me.
So it's clear.
That'd
I
be
suspect
convenient.
He's talking about straight line on a map, going over a mountain or something, and then saying, "Oh, well, if you go around the side of the mountain on a curved route."
You know what an intelligent man would do? If you were one, he would go, "You know, that doesn't make any sense. I should go watch the video, and then I'll talk about this. Not ramble on about what you think and then interrupt me as you do it."
No,
yeah, you're not intelligent at all.
I'm intelligent enough to recognize.
No, you're intelligent enough to ramble on and talk over people. That's about it.
That's because you don't understand anything. I know.
Yeah, and tell people they don't understand.
I know.
Then they're the ones who are pointing out the mistake that the other guy who you think is intelligent made a mistake.
That's not the case. So I bet you he was referring to drawing over a straight line. And
I'll take that bet.
All right,
and then he probably said, "Oh, but if I go on this curved route around the mountain, it's shorter."
Excuse me, sir. I'll take that bet. How much?
I suspect that's how it's happened.
And how much?
What's that have to do with
Yeah.
What's that have to do with?
Yeah, it's on video.
He will be referring to something
Always
like I just
horizontal?
said, but drawing a straight
Yeah,
line over a
it
mountain,
establishes
going
a
over mountain,
horizontal
you go
plane
round the
of
side on a
reference. That's
curvy bend, curvy route, it's shorter. So imagine
Or
that.
you might be wrong again.
No, I'm never wrong.
You were wrong a while ago.
No, I wasn't.
You're wrong about Jesse claiming that he's a geodetic surveyor.
No, I'm not. I don't. But I believe he has done work on geodetic surveying. I can't believe that he's not. And I've seen videos in which he's been dealing with the curvature of Earth, and only geodetic surveyors do that. So
been dealing with the curvature of the Earth.
With the curvature of Earth.
Exactly. He's had to allow for the curvature of the Earth, which makes him a geodetic
wizardry.
surveyor.
You mean he had to calculate it? He had to calculate it.
Well, that's what
allow
geodetic surveyors do. Yeah, because
right, calculate it, not measure.
You know, that's because we know it with the radius of the Earth. They don't have to
go
and determine what the radius is.
Yeah, that's what your good book says.
That's like saying 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Every time someone who wants to use that addition, they have to go away and check it. No, we know.
No, that's not a good analogy. You're wrong again.
It is an excellent analogy.
The best analogy would be your priest.
And geodetic surveyors don't have to
have
keep
told
on doing their job.
The radius.
They don't have to keep on.
And then you calculate it into your point.
They use the recognized value for the radius Earth in their calculations. They don't have to.
Right, the calculation.
Yeah.
Right. It's never been measured.
Geodetic surveyors don't spend their time checking what everybody's established as a fact. They go and use the results, the conclusions of other geodetic surveyors, and then do operations with it.
So the first geodetic surveyors definitely measured the curvature of the Earth.
You're just breaking up. You might as well not bother.
And Rumpus is talking over people. So the first geodetic surveyors definitely measured the curvature of the Earth. They didn't calculate it, right, Rumpus?
Correct.
Who was that?
Well, for instance, there was the expedition in, 17 something by the French surveyors to establish whether or not there was a bulge at the equator. Because Newton said there was a bulge at the equator of the Earth. Other people said that it wasn't. So they then went out and measured this and spent 3 years running around Ecuador and Peru.
Yeah. And how did they measure? What method?
Well, they used theodolites.
Okay, what method did they use, though? Not the tool. You know the difference, right?
Well, they use surveying techniques.
Wow.
You want to go?
Oh, wow. No way.
Ooh, astounding.
Yeah.
Well, they used theodolites. They by triangulation.
Was that geodetic surveying techniques or local geodetic surveying techniques?
Local geodetic. I have no idea what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Were they surveying locally?
They used triangulation to determine that there was a bulge at the
local.
They did so by performing triangulation across the
locally.
When you say, I mean at that point, yes.
Okay, so these surveyors were surveying locally.
On the Andes, yes.
Okay.
They spent 3 years. It was a major expedition. It was a team of 10 people. They were some of the best French surveyors of the age, and they were establishing that whether or not Newton was correct in saying there was a bulge at the equator. And they then proceeded to do so. They took some they spent a lot of time and effort into using triangulation techniques that indeed the Earth did bulge as Newton predicted.
Wow.
The equator bulges?
Yeah.
How far?
In other words, the radius of the Earth, it's 16 kilometers additional radius at the equator above the poles. Greater than the poles.
Did they ever do any non-local surveying within this when they were doing this surveying project?
I don't know what you mean.
Like, what was the scope of their local surveying? Did they ever go out of the scope of local?
They went crisscrossed the Andes. They crisscrossed the equator.
Yeah.
Triangulated it around Peru and Ecuador's. Yeah.
Not how far they traveled, Rumpus. You got to pay attention. When they were measuring locally, did they ever do any non-local measuring?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, local. What do you mean by local?
Well, they were on site. They did triangulation on site of the locations to establish what the distances was between the points and.
What distance? At what distance did they do it locally?
At what distance? I don't know the intimate details of exactly how many miles the triangulation points were apart. Why should I know that?
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, so when they were measuring the angles, though, right, they were local, right? Obviously, not one end of the angle, right? But at the vertex of where the angle is being measured, right? You could call that local, but would you call the entire angle local that they were measuring?
The entire angle. I don't know what you mean by the entire.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're up at the top of a mountain. They're measuring an angle between one mountain peak and another mountain peak. Well,
line of sight.
Yeah. Would you call the mountain that they're putting their point of one end of the thing on and moving that over, right? The angle obviously is within the tool measured locally. But would you say that mountain, where the angle that they're measuring, would you also include that in the scope of the local measurement? Or would you say that distance at the mountain at the far end of the site, would you call that non-local? Even though we know the angle is definitely a local measurement. Because the guy's he's local to the tool that's measuring it. But the other mountain at point A and point B, would you also include that within the angle of the local measurement?
That's just gibberish. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah. It's technical surveying stuff.
There's nothing technical about what you said. That was just a bunch of waffle. You were struggling with every word.
Yeah, this is your go-to, Rob. Calm down.
No idea what you were talking about.
Calm down. I understood.
I get it.
You want me to repeat it? I understood it. Maybe I'm not intelligent. Maybe intelligent people can't understand simple straight line measurements.
That's it.
You said that's
what I think it might be.
Okay, you repeat it.
It might be too clever to.
You might have to just close your mouth for a little while, Rumpus. So. You agree that angle measurement would be a line of sight straight line, right?
Well, it's refracted.
So now it's a refracted angle measurement.
Surveyors have to deal with this, yeah. I know that.
Do they calculate that too?
Yes, they have to.
It's a lot of calculating going on.
Could that be the reason for the excess of...
No, you think...
No, definitely not. Nothing to do with the refraction.
The excess is horizontal, whereas the refraction I'm talking about is vertical. They're two completely different things. And if you knew anything about surveying, you would know
the excess is horizontal, did you say?
The spherical excess is horizontal?
Correct. It's in the horizontal plane, yeah. It's not a vertical excess.
A horizontal plane. Is that horizontal plane local?
Absolutely it is.
To the entire angle.
You overtalked. I didn't hear what you said.
To the entire angle.
What do you mean by the entire angle? No idea what you mean by that. I don't think you know what you mean. You just made that up.
Well, the angle, the plane that the angle's in when you're measuring an angle on the horizontal plane. Is that horizontal plane locally across the entire angle that has been measured?
Well, you're just measuring an angle at your location. So, of course, it's just the horizontal for you at particular point where you're standing.
For the entire angle, though.
The plane is only horizontal at that point.
For the entire angle.
You move away 10 meters, you actually have a very slightly different horizontal plane.
But locally, for the horizontal plane that's established from mountain A to mountain B from mountain C, that entire plane, those three coplanar points... If you're saying it's horizontal,
they're not necessarily they're not likely to be coplanar.
We said that's why we said that on the horizontal plane. If they're three coplanar points, the entire plane would be a local plane, and it would be horizontal. The 3 points would definitely be coplanar.
If you knew anything about surveying, you would know that your surveying points invariably are not at the same elevation.
But three points are always coplanar.
Well, okay.
And you said it was a horizontal plane. That's what I was asking about, just the horizontal plane.
As you say, 3 points were point, but I presume you were talking about in the same horizontal plane, and that's not...
So now you're agreeing.
Well, he was referring to a horizontal plane.
Yeah, I was asking you if the horizontal plane that you talked about, whether that was local.
Well, of course, I've told you this about a million times. You
That's
have your
okay,
own
good.
local horizontal
Yeah, yeah.
and vertical. And every vertical, if you move 2 feet to the right, you've got a slightly different vertical and different horizontal. Every point on the surface of the Earth
But
has
you're
its
not
own
moving.
local
If you're
horizontal
measuring an
and vertical.
angle, Rumpus, you're not moving. That's why I said to be in the plane of the
it's
angle
only
that
a
you're
1 point.
measuring.
It makes a
Without
pointless
moving,
point to make.
because you can't move if you're measuring an angle, right? That's definitely not
But
good.
it's a stupid point. Of course, you're only in 1 point. So at that point, you've got a local horizontal and vertical. And you keep on worrying about the entire
The plane, I
angle.
was
don't know what
talking
you're
about the
talking
plane of the angle that you're measuring an angle in.
When you just measure...
Because you have vertex and point A and point B. There's 3
Yes.
coplanar points.
But they're not... Well, yes, but you were talking about them being in a horizontal plane. and they're
You
not
were
going to
talking
be.
about the horizontal, Rumpus. You brought that up.
Yeah, and then you asked me
The
whether
plane
or not
of the
they're
angle.
going
And
to
I
show
said,
something
is that
or
horizontal plane the plane of the angle?
the plane of the angle. Well, no, it doesn't have to be, because you could be looking at another point on another mountain that's not above your local horizontal. And it's liable to be so.
But
That's
you
why I was
did say you
coplanar
measured a
and
horizontal angle and not the vertical. So that I said, is
What
that
horizontal-
horizontal angle on that horizontal plane a local angle for the entire plane of the angle?
Local, you don't know what you're talking about, do you? You're just making words.
I know,
A
it gets
local
really,
angle.
it
It's
must
just-
get
no, you
really
don't know what you're
confusing
talking
for you.
about. You know,
This is your
Talking
go-to,
about
Rumpus.
3 coplanar
I'm
He
going to
doesn't
points.
point
know
out
what
your
he's talking
go-to.
about. He's
Yeah, but this is your
struggling. You can
go-to.
tell he's struggling to work.
No.
He's never done any surveying.
No, you can tell you're
He's
struggling when you go
No,
to
he's
telling
struggling.
someone else they don't
He's making
understand.
up all sorts of terms that you do.
No,
not
it's your
find in the
tell,
surveying
Rumpus.
book
It's
because he
just
doesn't
an
understand
angle,
the subject,
Rumpus.
and
I
he doesn't
know.
have a
Don't get
surveying book.
upset. 3
He's not-
coplanar
you
points.
Don't, you don't
Be
have a
simple
surveying
to
book, do you, Bev?
everybody.
Calm down,
You
Rumpus.
don't have a surveying book, do you, Bev? You've never read
Oh
a
my
surveying
goodness.
book.
What do you care?
Don't know anything about
Just
Rumpus,
got the
this is your
surveying
go-to. You're looking
qualifications.
silly.
Yes, I'm pointing out he knows nothing about the subject on which he's talking
You're being
about. I think
silly.
That's rather important. Oh, it's just
He-
silly he's not read a surveying book. Oh, I see. So he's talking about surveying, and
I've
he's never...
No, it's silly
only-
you saying he hasn't.
I've only
but-
got the surveying
Just
qualifications,
admit
Rumpus.
it.
I have
Yeah,
no
just-
books
yeah,
left anymore.
GCSE, yeah, we know that.
Yeah,
All you did
land
was do that was
surveyor.
to yeah, all you did
That's
to
one
do
of them,
there
Rumpus,
was
yeah.
to hold a stick up, I suspect.
Do you have one? Do you have one, Rumpus?
I have read a surveying book.
Do
Bev.
you
you
have
have
a
a
holding a stick up
I am better
surveying
qualified
certificate?
than Bev has, because
Or even,
I read
have you got even one that allows you to set a tripod up? Have you got one of those?
See, that's,
Like,
that's
have you
what-
got that?
That's what you got a certificate in, setting up a tripod. The rest
Well,
of
have
us
you
who
have
did
you got
surveying-
one for setting the tripod up, Rumpus?
No, I haven't.
No,
but I'm
okay. So
better
I've got
qualified.
at least
I'm
I've got
better
one more
qualified
than
than you are.
you,
Yes,
Rumpus.
So
I
you're
don't
saying
care.
he has more of a
Yeah.
certificate than you
Yeah.
do. What about my license to do contracting work and use these tools? Am I more qualified than you?
Yes, you are.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
you
so
would
that's
listen
2
to
of
me?
us.
So me and Bev are more qualified to talk and show you and teach you about surveying
Well,
than
and
you
the-
ever would be about
you,
us,
Yeah, but you don't understand the theory. I think you've also admitted you don't have a.
which is
surveying
also
book.
your tell.
You've
Yeah.
also admitted you don't have a surveying.
I
book.
know
You
what
do.
tells are.
You
Yeah.
don't have a surveying book, do you? You
So
do
I
not.
don't.
Wow, Rumpus has
You
got a
don't
book.
have-
I don't have a.
Yes,
You're
you
right.
don't.
You're
But
right.
this
I
is
don't
why
have
you
one.
keep
I have
on leaping
several.
to Bev's defense, because you do not have a book. on
How
surveying
in the
theory.
world would
Do
you even
you?
say that? As an intelligent person,
So do you?
you've never
do
been
you
to my
have
office.
a book on surveying theory?
I have several books. What are
do
you talking
you
about?
have a
You
book
sound
on surveying
silly,
theory?
Rumpus.
Do you have a book on surveying theory?
Surveying
say it again.
theory.
See, you're deflecting, aren't you? Because
It's
you
Let me say it again.
95%
I've already
practical,
answered-
Rumpus. Come
want to
on.
admit to the fact you
I've
don't.
already answered you, Rumpus. I already answered you like 3 times, and you didn't
Okay,
hear
what
any
was
of
the
them
answer?
because you were so
Do you-
intelligent
Do
that
you
you're
have a
now
book
repeating the same question
on
again
surveying
Yeah.
that you talked
theory?
through my answer of by
So,
repeating
okay.
the same question over
Okay,
and
well,
over
do
again
you- Okay, please.
while I answered you.
Okay, could you? What was your answer?
Several, and they're all theoretical. They're not practical.
All right,
We
okay,
go out.
okay.
I went and I went out today. Are you listening?
I am.
Today, I used the tools to do surveying, to set horizontals.
Rightio.
Today,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
left.
yeah.
Listen, are you listening?
Yeah,
Are you
everybody and
listening?
their dog
Rumpus,
do
are you
that.
Are you
Yeah,
listening?
everybody and their dog.
Are
do
you
that.
listening,
That's
Rumpus,
the
or are
thing
you
to do.
talking? Are you listening? Because I'm more qualified. I have a license to do this, right?
Right.
I pay money to the state every year to be qualified to use these tools.
This is just plain.
So your house and your buildings and your roads are at a
not
certain elevation.
Rumpus's.
So what book have you got? Could you tell me the title, please?
Oh, Rumpus.
Oh my God!
Oh,
you got the wrong book. Now it's going to be the wrong one. I mean, what are you doing buying that book for?
Let me tell you what I like to have. So you don't want to talk about what I did today using the tools.
No, I don't.
The fact that I left one of my packages at a job site. My guys are going to go in the morning and use the tools. That's what. No one does anything different. No one does anything different. Local.
The theory.
No one does the theory. You mean your fantasy theory? To calculate the radius that was given to you, not measured.
So how about
as a surveyor, as someone who's uses surveying tools, we measure things. We don't calculate them. If we wanted to calculate them, we could do that in our office.
A simpleton can do that. So please tell
me
the
I'm a
title
simpleton.
of the book. Please tell me the title of the book.
I'm not talking about the several books that I have in my office. I'm not talking about those. I'm not talking about the test. I'm not talking about all the tests.
Yeah,
the
I want
yearly.
to know if you've read
Yeah,
them.
but you can't shut
What
up.
I'm going to do.
Obviously, I've read them.
So what I'm going to do, when you tell me the title of this book,
I have the license, Rumpus, to do this work. You understand what I'm saying, right? I know you would have to download it and then read it because you're the one that doesn't know how to survey. You don't have a license to survey. You don't use the tools.
And I will show
you
to a page in your book that you can.
What are you trying to do here?
Which will then demonstrate that
you want to come out into the field and I can show you
is not horizontal.
He knows about section 33, doesn't he?
I've seen it. I've seen it. Thank you.
The fact that you're very reluctant to offer up the title.
I've seen that theory in that book.
I mean, I don't believe you. Well, I don't.
I've seen the theory in the book, Rumpus.
Okay, which book is it?
All the books that I've seen it in. All of them that have that in there.
Give me
I've seen it.
Yeah, give me the name.
Rumpus. I'm sitting in a hot tub. I'm not at my office.
Okay,
they are at my office.
Okay,
I use these tools every day, Rumpus. I'm going to use them tomorrow. Have you used these tools, Rumpus?
No, I haven't. Well, I have used. I've also used auto level.
So you've just read the book and you took out the part where they say theoretically.
Level. I had no. I've done work with an auto level. But anyway.
What's an auto level?
Well, it's something that gives you a horizontal plane.
Does it now? For what distance?
Any distance.
Any distance. So you could easily show, by creating a horizontal plane over water, the drop from that horizontal.
Correct.
Why not make a video?
I will be doing that very shortly.
Another video you will be doing.
That is what my rect thing is going to demonstrate. Exactly that thing.
It is.
So, yeah. Exactly.
The drop.
Yeah.
You're going for the big nutsack drop.
That's a twattish remark. You'll be demonstrating the drop. That's what rect is designed.
It's the nutsack drop. I mean, Paid NASA Shield says it's globe proof. You're going to go and help prove the globe by doing the nutsack drop.
Exactly. The drop is going to demonstrate.
We're going to get a dance going and everything. We've got all sorts of stuff going ready for it.
I don't understand why you don't hook up with Paid NASA Shield. He could fly y'all around. Easy travel.
George is coming down and bringing his tools, because then Rumpus at least will have somebody on the bridge with an auto level to be able to look over it and go, fucking hell, Rumpus, you're never going to get a stick that fucking big.
Well, you'll be able to see it live, Bev, so you will be able to see everything.
Are you sure? Will you not run off?
Well, it's going to happen. I'm hoping to do it, say, May or June, when it's nice and warm and everybody's comfy. Because I've got 8 people. I've now got a few more people, and I want to make sure they're all comfortable and everything. So I don't want them to be doing it in some sort of horrible.
Is this the same test you've been doing for like a year?
Yeah. I wasn't doing it for 6 months, but then I went. Yeah, but I haven't been doing it for the last 3 or 4 months because it's obviously been too cold. It's quite a long distance for me to get there, and so I haven't been doing it in the cold. And obviously, I need 8 or 9 or 10 people to be there at the time, and expecting them to do that in.
You'll need loads more when you see the size of the fucking stick you're gonna have to put up there, Rumpus.
To set a horizontal and measure the drop to the water. You need how many people again?
8
and
people,
how many
yeah.
days?
Well, I've got.
How many
You want to
months?
see the size of his fucking stick he's going to have to build, Ricky. It's
Well, you got a big stick, Rumpus?
You've seen pictures of it.
Oh, no,
You sure
that's
that's
not
big
big
enough?
enough, Rumpus. That's a
not
little
big enough.
tiddler, that.
What? It's 30 feet high.
Yeah, that's not big enough for what you're going to need.
That's definitely not big enough. How high are you off on the bridge in the first place?
15 feet.
And you think 30 feet stick is going to be big enough?
At 8 kilometers with a bank that I'm sticking it on, which is about 2 meters up from the water, it will be big enough. At 8 kilometers.
I'm not sure. Like, how long does that take?
How long does that take? What distance? You talking about time or distance? What?
It sounds like about a 3-day project.
It's, well, unfortunately, the access to the points that I'm getting to, unfortunately, is quite difficult. And so dragging 30-foot telescopic poles to these places is a big...
I thought you already took it there.
Yeah, I have, yes.
You didn't leave it there?
It's in secure accommodation at the moment. Or the 4 poles, and they are securely stowed away.
You have 4 30-foot poles that are stored?
No, they vary in size because there are different distances. Some of them
I've got a pole lock-up special for it. It's an expensive job. I mean, he's got the paper, local newspaper, Wi-Fi links. He's got it all set up.
Correct.
Yeah.
So have you done it yet?
No, he's never tested any of it. Don't be fucking stupid.
And you will be able to see it being done live.
You won't. First time live?
Yeah, you won't.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Connection's not good
live,
enough.
And you will have teams,
He's not
teams
tested
of
it.
people on 4 different points, and they'll all be raising and lowering these targets.
And you won't be able to see them because the connection won't work.
You will be able to see them live doing their stuff, and me measuring them, and us coming up with the radius.
It'll be like a catastrophe. It'll be like a comedy of errors.
Well, then you can look forward to that.
Yeah.
You, Biv?
Yeah, for like a year.
Yep,
I've been hearing about this for a year. If this is the same test, it's been like a year.
It is the same test, yes.
So for a year, you've been telling people we're going to see it live.
Correct. Well, you should have the fun then. When it all goes wrong, you'll be able to see it live and be able to join in the fun.
Yeah, no, I know how hard these projects are. It's damn near impossible what you're trying to do.
It is much more difficult than I thought, and it involves a lot more people than I thought, and involves a lot more effort than I thought, and a lot more hardware than I thought. But nonetheless, we are just about there now.
So through a theodolite, did you say, or an auto level, you're going to see
auto level.
How many kilometers?
8 kilometers.
Yeah, he's not.
It's a long way.
It is a very, very, very long way, and much longer than it would seem, and I appreciated at the time.
You better pick the right day, Rumpus.
Indeed, that is important. That's a good point. And that's why, fortunately, there are some nearby airfields which give you a day-to-day description of visibility. So I can hopefully give a week's warning and then a day, and then a no on the previous day whether or not it's very likely that the conditions will be good.
Working airfields nearby your site, huh? Dumping all that fuel and fumes into the air?
Well, they're not that close. They're not.
Oh.
They're within a few miles, so they're not over puffing their stuff over the thing, but they're near enough to mean the visibility values, the visibility conditions that they register will be relevant and useful to me.
What's visibility? How far you see?
Correct.
Due to the what?
Well, the conditions.
Wow. They don't mention Earth curve in there?
What? We're talking about the visibility. What are you talking about?
So no Earth curve mentioned in visibility. How far you see?
No.
All right. Cool. I didn't think so either. Yeah. No. Not idiot. I agreed with you, Rumpus.
Yeah, but it was a stupid question.
So I'm not an idiot. It's just a bad question. A question that you agree with.
There's no such thing as a stupid question, Rumpus.
There is a very definitely stupid question. That was one of them.
But that was the one that you answered, though, right? Of all of the questions that you've been asked, you choose to answer.
I always make an effort to answer all the questions.
Yeah, I don't think so, Rumpus. I think you avoid more questions than you answer.
And I don't do that.
Your tells are many, Rumpus. That's one of them. That's one of the easiest ones. It's okay. Just calm down.
I missed the start of that sentence.
Yeah, you attacking another man is your tell. It's your weakness. It's how we know you're full of shit at the moment.
Deary me. Well, that's
you get.
is it? Yeah.
No. Yeah. You see, you think you have a tell on me.
I attack people when they're behaving dishonest. If you were an honest engager, then I wouldn't attack you. I don't attack people who's just stupid.
You mean like telling you I'm in a hot tub and tomorrow morning I'm going to be using the tools that you've never used and I have a license to do so? You mean like honesty like that?
Yeah, that's
You're
fine.
attacking him.
I haven't attacked you.
So
why?
So don't attack me then.
I haven't attacked you for that.
Well, what do you think I'm dishonest about if I'm telling you all this honesty and truth?
No, I didn't say you were dishonest.
I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper.
Well, so what?
I'm fixing to go eat. I mean, I don't have a reason to lie. I've never measured curved water.
I didn't say you did.
I've never measured curved water.
You're just ignorant.
Yeah, right. You're attacking me now.
Ignorant of what, Rumpus?
You said you would never attack me if I was telling you the truth. I told you like 5 truths in a row, and then you are so intelligent, you just went, you're deluded and retarded, basically.
Well, you are.
Well, can you tell him what he's ignorant of? Then he might not be ignorant of it.
He's a flat earther. He hasn't read.
I'm not a flat earther, Rumpus.
Yeah, can you? What's he ignorant of, Rumpus? He's not ignorant of the fact that he's not. He is a flat earther because he knows he isn't. He's definitely not ignorant of that. So what is he ignorant of, please, Rumpus?
Reality. He's ignorant of what's in the contents of his surveying book that he claims to have.
No, I admitted. You're not intelligent, or you don't listen. I already admitted that what you said is in the books.
Mm-hmm.
The theoretical nonsense that's in many books.
I didn't catch that bit. Okay.
Oh, you missed that part. Maybe
the model talk.
You seen the shit out of me when I answered several times.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I missed it. Whatever.
Maybe you're not intelligent then.
Yes, I am.
No, all the intelligent people I've ever talked to
not affected by
never act like you. Never.
When they're faced with idiots and delusion, they
No, they never call people idiots. Intelligent people
they do. When they're
know better because they know that person is smarter than them and other things.
When they're faced with an aggressive idiot, even intelligent people are forced to be idiots.
Wow.
You think it's aggressive?
Aggressive.
That's nice. I bet you're getting that. Ricky, like, oh.
I mean, you were starting
I'm
off
aggressive.
As being reasonably well paid, but you gradually became more and more obnoxious.
Yeah, right, Rumpus.
Yeah,
because of people like you lying.
You're not quite
openly lying and deceiving on purpose.
There you go. Here we go. So there you are. You're just demonstrating that you're an idiot.
Yeah, you're a deceiver.
No, I'm not. You're the deceiver.
Yeah, you're.
No, I wouldn't call you. You're just too stupid to understand that you're wrong.
Right, just another personal attack. What am I wrong about?
But what you're wrong.
I told you I've never measured curved water. Am I wrong about that?
I've no idea. But
right. So what am I wrong about?
Okay, what I do know is
neither is Rumpus.
I've read it several times when you've been looking at a series of polls.
Intelligent person. Hang on, stop.
I'm not pointing.
I asked you a question. You're not answering. You're not intelligent, okay? Because an intelligent person would have heard my question, which is, what am I wrong about? And then they would have said,
about to tell you.
You're wrong about.
And I was about to tell you, and you interrupted me. So, for instance, you have said, you've been asked several times by Blue Marble and George Natayuk if you would use an auto level or whatever to see if there's any drop of a distant series
RVD
of
face.
Plops. Here we go. Bev's got to interrupt me here.
Yeah.
And you've claimed you've never done that. You've never looked from one that the start.
No, that's a blatant lie. I'm the one who went out on Lake Pontchartrain and shot the Marriott building with my auto level. You just don't know anything, Rumpus.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
He doesn't understand it at all.
Say that you refuse
he's ignorant of the fact that you are actually the guy that did it.
That is what you said. You said you did not think it was worthwhile.
I said it's nonsense. No, I know it's nonsense because I've done it. I've seen how objects in the distance through the atmosphere, when you look too far through a optical unit, like, listen, an auto level.
Yeah.
You can't measure things like that.
Yes, you can.
He said too far. I like the way he said that.
What you're saying is,
did you hear that, Rumpus? He said, when you look too far.
You went, but you
like this,
denied
like a distance that's too far for you to look.
100%. I've witnessed a water bulge, water being concave, water being flat. What I haven't done, now listen to the punchline that you've heard once before, but you're not intelligent enough to compute it. I have never, ever measured curved water. Neither of you.
Well, that's because you've chosen not to. But you've seen, if you've
No, I choose not to.
You interrupted me again. You see, you didn't like me pointing out what the problem is. You have observed.
No, you lied about.
See, here you go. Here you go. You're doing it again. You're not letting me make my point. So
no,
I'm
not going to let you lie.
You're interrupting me. You haven't let me respond to your point yet. So where you have looked through an auto level and you've seen the horizon drop below the horizontal, which is what you would get on a flat Earth. And that is the drop. And you don't like that because it interferes or contradicts your delusional religious belief or whatever it is, whatever reason you believe the Earth is flat. That contradicts you and you deny.
He doesn't believe the Earth's flat. He knows it isn't.
Looking through an auto level to the horizon is what you said? Is what makes me not believe something?
Yeah, you deny that the horizon...
And you're saying yes to that?
You have seen, with your own eyes, I would presume, through looking at water, that the horizon, the water horizon of the sky and water meeting, that is below the horizontal, which would
always,
not occur,
Rumpus.
Which
it always is, every time.
Which would only occur on a
every time.
No, that's where you're lying to yourself and others.
Yeah,
Rumpus, you know that what a auto level creates a horizontal plane, right?
Yes.
If it's above a horizontal plane, such as water, and it's 6 feet above it, you know where that horizontal plane in the distance would be?
If it's long, then it would rise up to the horizontal of your auto level.
That's optics, but where would the horizontal line be?
What do you think the auto level is?
It would always be 6 foot above if you start out 6 foot above that horizontal plane.
No, you don't understand.
Yes.
That, do you?
No, that...
You don't understand,
Rumpus. You don't understand perspective.
Yeah, I understand how perspective changes that,
don't.
And that's why
if you understood perspective and you
you're talking about optics now. You're talking about perspective.
Yes, we're talking
I'm talking about two parallel. If you're 6 foot above a horizontal plane and you use an auto level, which makes a horizontal line in the distance, right? 6 foot.
You don't understand perspective.
Oh, Rumpus.
Oh, come on.
Come on. It's got to get old, even for you, Rumpus.
I don't understand.
You don't understand, and you don't understand. And
you mean how objects in the distance appear to rise towards eye level, but don't ever reach it and won't ever cross it? Yeah, I understand perspective. So I do understand perspective.
No, you don't.
Which has nothing to do. Nothing to do with my example.
You just
you are obfuscating.
I think it's Rumpus that doesn't understand that we perfectly understand that Rumpus hasn't got a fucking clue.
I said flat plane.
Yeah, flat plane, yeah.
And you create another horizontal line 6 foot above that flat plane.
No, you don't need a flat plane. You just make a plane.
And that would meet the horizontal.
It would appear to optically, but it wouldn't. It would always be. It would always be 6 foot above it, right?
Talking about what you see through the auto level, you twat.
Yeah, which is not reality. It's optics. It's how the atmosphere and perspective work.
No.
Not how the tool works.
If you understood geometry and perspective, you would realize.
Oh my God!
You would realize that the horizon would rise to the level of your auto level.
It would appear to.
Yes, it would appear to. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and
it never does.
What vertical height? It never does.
The fact that you do not see that means that the Earth is not.
What about if you do see that? If you've got somebody that does see that and takes pictures of it.
Well, you can get unusual refraction conditions.
Yeah, like above. Actually, it does actually rise above them, right, Rumpus?
Only in strange.
You are going to allow for it, though, right?
In strange refraction conditions.
Yeah. Whereas I say personally, I've never seen it, right?
Yeah, it's unusual.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to see somebody that actually does see that, would you call them a flat earther?
No, because it's only a temporary thing. If it happens on a regular basis, that'll be different.
So then the argument that you're trying to make about something rising that we know never does, and you say that sometimes it does, then what's the argument exactly?
Right, the argument is under standard refraction conditions, the horizon on a flat Earth would rise to eye level.
Is that in a book?
All right.
The fact that it drops considerably.
I see. That's handy. So you make a straw man and then burn the straw man and go. See, therefore, is globe.
Yeah. See you later, Rumpus.
Yeah. That's been nice, Rumpus. Thank you very much.
That was fun.
Yeah. I think he ended up in a paradox there, right?
He had to get out.
Yeah, you can't have an argument that relies on the horizon rising to eye level if you've got somebody on your side that does pictures of it rising above the crosshairs and then try and use that as an argument against somebody that says it doesn't rise anyway to the eye level. It's really weird.
When using an optical tool over distance.
Yeah,
he immediately went to,
And also, as well, not to point out the fact that not only is he using it further than you should, but the number one thing that it says with an auto level is like, don't fucking use it over water.
I like that. Find out in the book that he's read, showing the procedure of pointing two auto levels at each other to prove drop.
Yeah. Vertical. He said he had vertical refraction, didn't he? Not horizontal. Yep. So, vertical. I mean, that would be useless measuring an angle across the vertical over distance if you have got a refractive drop. You can't figure that into a surveying practice. That would be ridiculous.
Especially using line of sight straight lines to do so.
Once again, Rumpus sort of comes along. Not having the surveyors, obviously fake surveyors, around because they would expose themselves, exposes people like Rumpus that know nothing about the actual thing, that they give us chance to hear such classics. That Rumpus. Vertical refraction, not horizontal. But the horizontal are the angles that they make more than that Rumpus gave us as well. I mean, Rumpus has given us so much tonight for us to go over. I mean, Rumpus is one of the most qualified globe earthers, I think. I mean, who else is there that speaks for this sort of stuff? Who else is there that tells people that they don't understand? He must be one of the most brilliant globers around. I've enjoyed today. After hours.
I was with a team of monks. They taught me everything I need to know.
The globe monks.
Globe. Yeah, globe monks. They're not bald. They have mohawks.
Nice. So you'd be coming with all of the globe shit now then?
Yeah, like I had a sit down with Blue, George, and Jesse, and they all coached me on everything I need to be saying, so that I coexist with everything else everyone else says.
Jesse?
Yeah, even Jesse. Yeah, you know.
Wow. You're not going to have to bring back the hump, are you? Because Blue was doing that.
There is no hump.
Yeah, I know, but like, did you see Blue's picture? Let me get it for you. It's fucking great. Blue's doing his. We went over Jesse's bridge, obviously. Well, you know, the bridge that Jesse went over. Blue. And like, it was really weird because you obviously you got rid of the hump. So then obviously all we need to get rid of then is the drop.
Well, the drop's there.
Blues decide. Yeah, there's obviously no drop, and nobody.
Well, there's obviously
drop. Thinks there's a drop.
Well, if you don't test for it, how
can there be a drop? That's river. That's what rivers do.
If you test for it, you can verify it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but look at that picture there. Look at that picture that Blue did. I mean, like, we were all saying, Sean will be pissed. He did all that work getting rid of the hump, and then Blue goes and draws pictures like that.
Yeah, we don't ever observe that. We don't measure that tangibly in our observations. That is I would say a referencing I guess, referencing picture of it, but there is no actual hump.
Yeah, no, we know the hump's not there. Horizontal, that's what we say.
Well, no. See, the difference would be, and for what you're saying is, if that is what is there, the curvature should be going up and over. But again, that's not what we see. That's not how we measure it on.
Just a bridge.
That's not how we measure it on the Earth. So yeah, I mean, the only time you would use that measurement is, say, if you're, showing the distance between 2 points on a globe on a picture, but as a measurement, we don't measure that. You don't measure the hump. There is no hump. You don't see that.
Yeah.
You don't look up.
Paradox. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Do you accept it?
No.
You don't accept it.
So there's a difference between when we're talking about observations that we're making and tangible measurements you can make on a model. There's a huge difference between the two. Where what Blue showed is a tangible measurement on a model, as in for our observation and what is there, there's no hump.
Have you seen it? It does say elevation above the tangent plane. I mean, do you agree with that?
Yes.
What? You can't, surely.
Did
you not do any training for the geometry? Did nobody teach you anything about geometry?
If you're making a measurement against a model, yes, that's accurate. If we're making these measurements in reality, in real life, there's no hump.
Does Rumpus give you any tangent training?
I don't need tangent. I understand what I'm saying right now. What I'm saying
and
is
you're
correct.
All right with that picture where he says elevation above.
If you're measuring a tangent line to the surface on that model that you're measuring, absolutely, that's correct. Is that what we see? No. Is there a hump? No. But we also don't see and observe along that tangent either.
Would you call that tangent plane internal?
Yes.
So we're dealing with internal tangent planes.
If you're measuring it against a model, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Are you sure?
But yeah, there's a distinguishing specific purpose between making observations on Earth, what we observe on Earth, compared to measuring it against the model. Yeah. Absolutely. Just like you said, that tangent is internal. You can't make an internal measurement right now on Earth. You can do it on a model, though.
You can't have an internal tangent, really, either, can you? But I mean,
on a model, you can. Because on a model, you could split that. Because on a model, you could split that model in half and make that measurement.
Do you think you could then put a tangent internal?
On the model? Absolutely. Just like I said, you cut it in half and make that measurement. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Is this like new maths or
no? That's just reality.
It's definitely not reality.
No, it is reality. You can create a model of something, and if you want to have internal measurements of it, split that model in half and do those measurements, which is exactly what that represents.
I don't thank Blue for this picture. It's doing wonders.
Well, I just explained it to reality versus the model of what he's measuring. Mm-hmm. That's a measurement done against a model, not a measurement done on Earth, on surface, and reality.
He's talking about that one that Jesse Kozlowski drove over in his car, though, right?
I didn't see that video.
You've never seen the video where Jesse puts the GPS unit on the roof of his car?
No, I told you I don't watch those channels.
And then drives over. Oh, he did it a few years ago, man. Like it's like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
It's been okay. I've watched maybe 3 or 4 of Jesse's videos, and they were probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And again, when I watch people's videos like that, it's not. Then becomes my stance. It doesn't work that way for me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you did say at the beginning that you've just been for training.
Yeah, come on, Bev.
You were acting like you knew Jesse and he'd just been giving you training with him and George and Blue.
Jesse.
I mean, they were the three guys
personally.
that you went to straight away.
Yeah, I was joking, Bev. And
With the priests.
I'm pretty sure you picked up on it. Especially because we were talking about the globe monks and all that. Do you really think I went and talked to globe monks?
Jesse, George, and Blue are the globe monks from now on, Sean. You've just given them their priesthoods.
For the record, even though I know you caught it, the sarcasm in my voice and what I'm
liking it. I'm running with it, Sean. That's a good one. I really like that. For the record,
for context, I was joking around. So if it comes out in an edit, I'll make sure I play this part too.
Yeah, I play all of the video. If this ever goes out, if I can be asked putting any Sean G stuff out,
everyone will. Well, I'm pretty sure the people relevant would acknowledge me being sarcastic, as I know you. I know.
I mean, I'm only being sarcastic as well, really. I mean, it's Blue, George, and Jesse. Right? Nobody's taking him seriously.
On a realistic level, I've talked to Jesse. I would love to go out there when he's doing shots just to learn more about what he does and how different aspects of surveying work. Because again, I don't know everything. But when it comes down to these arguments, I will not come in here with Jesse said this and George said it's ridiculous to do so.
I know nobody can. Nobody will ever be able to come in here and say Jesse and George and all of that sort of stuff because
I don't
actually do anything, do they?
But I mean, I see what Blue did. I explained it, I think, fairly well. The difference between what he's done and the reality of what we observe. When he says there's a hump, he may be discussing that measurement against the model.
It's got it wrote. It says the causeway. That's that red bit. That's the causeway. The bridge.
That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. That's the causeway, the bridge.
So his red line is the bridge. So this is the measurement of their... Okay.
Yeah. And that's like the yellow point at one end and the yellow point at the other end are the two ends of the bridge.
Okay. I see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it? Blue's really outdone himself.
Is the tangent where the water is, or the tangent just to create a line between the 2 points?
Well,
I know what a tangent is, but I'm asking for this picture.
It's just a straight line between those 2 points, isn't it? And at least that's what Blue's done. He's labelled that line tangent plane.
I think it'd be much better if I got the context of this picture, because I assumed this was just the model of the Earth, not a bridge.
No. This is like I say, we went over Jesse and Soundly going over this bridge. I mean, we've done it a few times, broke it down, and then Blue decided to do a live show where he's added these graphics to it. I mean, go look on Blue's. It's called there. He's got it. It says Try Thinking's Lake Pontchartrain Truth Bending.
Wait, are you saying that the tangent plane? Okay, so I'm assuming this is all done on the surface. Then you're saying that he can't create a tangent plane across 2 points?
What?
I'm asking.
Well, I know what a tangent is. I was asking you earlier.
Well, see, now I feel like I have to go watch Blue's representation of this because I don't understand what is being said in it. Then I guess because, like I said, I referenced it as because I didn't even click on it. I just looked at it and I was referencing that he was drawing this tangent through the Earth. But if he's doing this if this is a real observation that he's made.
Blue's
on the
explanation of how the GPS works for when Jesse was driving over the bridge.
Then what's wrong about it?
Well, I mean, can you not tell?
No, tell me.
He's got a tangent plane there. And he's got, like, it seems like he's got elevation, like a height above the tangent plane. So that elevation is an elevation change, and therefore he's verifying the elevation change of 28.5 meters. I mean, that's what Jesse said in the thing. I think that's what Blue was doing. He was showing that there's a vertical plane there, and that the height of the water in the middle the elevation height, right, above that straight line from each bit is 28.5 meters. I mean, it's brilliant.
Where
a vertical height change of 28.5 meters. It's fantastic.
Does he show the water level surface?
Yeah, Jesse does. He's there.
Okay, so when the picture you just shared is missing the representation of where the water level is.
You'll have to green somewhere in there. I'm not too sure whether he said the GPS elevation, it's got like a little 2 bits and showing the difference where the GPS elevation's measured from. And that you had the height of the causeway above the GPS.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the tangent plane he's created, you're saying that can't be created.
I'm saying it's not. I wouldn't consider that a tangent plane. I mean, that's a little bit silly, isn't it?
Why not?
Because he's got it labelled as a tangent plane.
What's wrong about that?
It's not a tangent plane,
Why
is
not?
it? Why not?
Yeah.
It's on the wrong side, isn't it? Do you know what? Do you know much about geometry, maths, and stuff?
No, but okay. So the fact that it's from one point to another.
Yeah. Do you know much about trigonometry?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what the tangent is in that?
Hang on. Okay. So is trigonometry the only definition for tangent?
What?
No,
I was just saying, like, do you know? Because I mean,
yeah, that's why I'm clarifying though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that the term tangent line is represented differently in different methods, right?
I don't know. It depends.
No, it definitely doesn't depend. It would depend on the method of what you're using, right?
Well, you know sine and cosine.
Hang on, but if you're only holding a tangent to one method of measurement or observation,
I was just asking if you knew what a tangent was.
Yes, I do. And I also understand that there are, depending on the method, the definition of the tangent would change. The method of that tangent would change.
Any idea what a tangent, like, just give us a brief explanation of what you think a tangent is, then.
A tangent would be like well, you don't think so, but a tangent line, I could create a tangent line from my observation to where my line would touch the surface.
Okay. Touch the surface?
Yeah. Or a point.
Okay. How many times would it touch the surface?
Would intersect. Huh?
How many times would it touch the surface?
It'd just be me and that point. The two would be the 2 points.
Tangent at 2 points.
It has to start somewhere. Has to end somewhere.
Okay. Right. Well, the reason I asked you if you knew what a tangent, like within trigonometry, is that you have the sine and the cosine, right? And then they are the other angles that aren't the right angle in a right angle triangle, right? The right angle triangle, the right angle part of it is the bit that goes around a semicircle, and it touches the circumference at a point, right? Now, that point is the bit where the tangent touches. It's called the tangent point. Only one, and it's like the tangent is the straight line that's perpendicular to the radius at that point.
Okay. I'll ask it one more time, I guess. Is that the only?
As far as I know, a tangent is the unless you're talking about talking in tangents, and that means that you're talking and you go off and divert and never come back to. So it's sort of similar, like you go away from the circular conversation on a tangent, taking them away from the conversation, the original circle. That's what a tangent is.
But we do understand. To make it clear, there are multiple functions for a tangent depending on the method. So
in geometry, it is always the point at which is perpendicular to the radius at the point it touches the circumference of the circle. I think. I mean,
okay, but you've already said, there are other.
I don't know. I didn't say that there were other. You said that there were other, and that's what you're relying on now. Maybe because one of your high priest Blue might have are you ever going to accept that? Or just a minute, Sean. Do you think, right before you go into shit? Do you think Blue might have fucked up?
No.
No.
What?
Okay.
I don't know. I'll better answer is I don't know because I haven't watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But from what you're saying is the problem here, the tangent plane that he's created, I don't see a problem with that. You asked me.
It's internal, though. You did say it was internal, right?
Well, that was also when I assumed that this was the surface of the Earth and the tangent line through the Earth, right? But it's not. So again, that's another tangent, a different tangent line that would be created off of something else. You're making it as if there's only one type of tangent.
What could it be? A tangent line of the two other than?
You said to me before
curve
that what I just said was wrong. Where I said I can create a tangent line.
What else could you have a tangent to?
Hang on. I've said to you, I've created a tangent line from me, the observer, to the surface of whatever, and that could create a tangent line that way. You told me I couldn't at one point.
That's why I asked you if you knew what a tangent was.
Absolutely, I do, and I explained it very well. You said how many times does it touch the surface? And I said very clearly, I said myself to that point where it touches. That's creating a tangent. A tangent is just a line.
Just not relying on you, though, Sean.
It is. It absolutely is. That line doesn't go forever in both directions. It starts with me.
To have a tangent, Sean, what else do you need with the tangent? What is it? You need a straight line and a what?
Surface.
A surface?
A point. Another point. What do you want? I don't know how specific you want me to be.
So you don't need a circle then?
No, you could do a tangent on a cliff.
Sean,
I thought the whole point of having a tangent is... Sorry, baby.
No, this is the time it's used.
Hey, sorry, I was just wondering, Sean, do you think that you can have a tangent to a straight line?
No.
Wow.
Okay.
What about that bit of weed over there?
Huh?
What about Squeaky Earth? Could you have a tangent to Squeaky Earth?
I don't even know what that even means.
I'm just checking whether you got this tangent training from Jose. Doesn't sound like you have. So we
would you
go on?
Sorry, Bev.
No,
so would you describe this tangent as a horizontal?
Can be.
Okay. Have you seen it, Spot On? Have you seen the actual picture we're looking at?
Tangent?
No,
a tangent?
In the live stream.
No.
In the live stream.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realise you were
talking about but you come on. No. You need to carry on. I like it.
Oh, where is it? Oh,
it's Blue Marble's done a thing when he went over Lake Pontchartrain. So it says GPS. He was explaining how the GPS raw data is referenced to the tangent plane. Now we've just decided we've got an internal tangent plane.
No, we didn't.
Oh
yeah.
See,
that's not tangent.
That's misrepresenting what we talked about.
Yeah, it is.
I even clarified that, Bev. Right?
Yeah,
didn't I clarify?
It's on the outside of the circle, not on the inside.
No, this is a different one. Sean was telling us.
Oh, sorry.
It's an internal tangent.
No, I didn't. So let's clarify. And
right. Okay.
You should be a little bit more honest with it, Bev. That's actually ridiculous. So when Bev showed me the picture that Blue had done, I assumed it was a tangent through the middle of the Earth, and that the arc was the Earth, the surface of the Earth.
See, through the middle. Yeah,
and then
an internal tangent.
Yeah, and then I asked Bev. Then Bev clarified to me that this was actually the bridge and a created tangent plane, and that's when I said that's not internal.
All right, so it's not a tangent plane. It's not internal.
It's a tangent plane. It's not internal for what this observation is.
What about?
That's not what's internal about it.
What do you mean? What's internal about it? It's just underneath the circle surface.
That's just an arc. That's not a circle. It's a bridge.
Yeah, it touches the curve at 2 points.
It's meant to be following the line of the water. The water is level, yeah? And this bridge is pretty accurate all the way long, apart from obviously the higher elevation.
Then this is more clarification. They are exactly. I asked Bev. No, hang on. I asked Bev if in that picture, I'm not sure if you're looking at. I can post it again real quick. I asked him, did blue represent where the water surface was? And he said, I don't know. I don't know. If Bev would have told me that the green line, that upper green line, was the water surface, then the whole conversation would be different. Because then it is internal. That's why I was asking all these questions, Bev, because I wanted you to explain to me what I was looking at, rather than just go explain this picture that I have no reference of.
Dude, Sean, did you forget about us talking about the red bit that's the bridge?
Yes.
And the GPS elevation data reference to the...
Did I ask you if blue represented the water level? And you said you went around. You didn't say yes.
Did I say no? Did I say no?
You said I don't know. You said I'd have to go watch it. You said.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely.
Okay. So if I'm asking you questions about this for clarification on what we're looking at, don't assume I know, because I made it clear I didn't know.
I know, I don't assume you know anything, Sean.
Okay,
absolutely.
It's been clarified.
Nobody assumes Sean knows fucking anything.
It would still need to be clarified what you're trying to explain to me.
So do you think you understand what it means now, then?
No, because are we going to go through this picture so I can be more clear for what we're looking at?
You go over it.
Okay, I'll ask. Okay, the red part, the stripe part, that's the bridge, correct?
That's what Blue's got it. He's got Causeway. He's got it labelled. We can only go off what Blue's labelled, right?
Okay.
You know as much as we do.
No, you watched this. You listened to him explain it. I didn't.
Why did he use really strange angles?
I guess I have to go look at it then, because I don't understand what's being presented. That's why I'm now asking, like I asked before, Bev. The green line under that stripe line, is that Blue's representation of the water?
Hey, look, everything's labelled, and I'm telling you now, this is Blue's drawing because he needed to explain something to us. He made this to explain exactly how the GPS raw data was referenced to the tangent plane.
Okay, so is that tangent plane he's created, and I asked this, is that tangent plane created above the surface of the water?
You'll have to go and ask Jesse Kozlowski, because I mean, like, Jesse did the thing on the bridge, so and we've always been asking these questions.
Settle down. He's answering your question.
I'm fine. I'm calm. I'm just making it clear that I obviously don't know enough information about this to have this conversation.
We're just talking about the tangent plane.
I can't even hear Bev answer your question because you're talking.
It was only about the tangent plane. That's all we were talking about. About the internal tangent plane that Blue had drawn. But you said there wasn't much chance that Blue might have fucked up.
I said I didn't know.
Yeah, I know. And then it's pretty obvious that you don't know either.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know what a tangent plane was.
No, I didn't. Okay. No, that didn't happen. I asked you specifically these questions about what you were showing me, so we could have the conversation about it. You were vague on most of them, obviously, because I asked these questions. You still don't answer.
I mean, like you said Blue was your priest, right? And I don't want to upset you by saying Blue's fucked up.
Did I say that, or did I say
Blue's
sarcastically?
Fucking masked up as bad as you can. For a guy that says he's an engineer, right? He's put a tangent plane on the inside, Sean.
Can you let Bev talk, please, so we can listen to what's going on?
Not if he's going to bring up a conversation we've actually had twice now, and act as if I was saying that seriously. Because we even had that conversation. Bev, you know I'm not serious about it. Of course.
Yeah, I know. No, you're not serious. But I'm still saying, Blue's fucked up. right? And you don't know enough to just sort of go, yeah, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah, I haven't watched this video. The only reference to everything you're talking about is that one picture. And when I asked questions to have more of an understanding of what I was looking at, I started getting vague answers. If
it looks like
you obviously watched it, and I'm pretty sure he explained that part. So I was just asking, so I have a reference to what I'm
that part. I mean, that's why we're doing it. We're using it.
And I don't have enough. Then the honest answer I can give you is I don't know enough about what you're showing me there to make it to give you an explanation for what.
All right, I've got a question for you, Sean. Then, so you were saying about the water level under the bridge, yeah? If you think the red bit on the top is the bridge, yeah, is it? Yeah, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm assuming.
On top. Yeah. So would you say that the water is depicted by the curved green line underneath it, or would you say the water level was the actual tangent plane?
I don't know. That's why I asked. That's
why just on the drawing. Would you just say? Did you have an opinion on it?
Okay. If it was the water level was represented by the green line under that striped red and black line, I would say that the tangent line is internal. If it is represented by above the surface of the water, then it is not internal. That's all I can say about it then. Until I know more. Because what represents where the water level is very important to have the discussion about this picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, would you think the horizontal line there? Would you think that was the water?
I don't know.
No, I know you don't know, but we're just talking about it, aren't we? I'm not holding you to anything.
Do you think Blue might have?
Yeah, I've now learned that everything I say is being held to me, so I'm going to bite my tongue on a lot now. I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
What about, tell the guys about the possibilities of the internal tangent plane.
The different, like how it would be used, you mean? If that was internal?
I mean, like...
Okay. The whole hump thing, you mean?
Possible, not possible. No. Like the internal tangent plane in that drawing that Blue's done.
I don't know if it's internal. I don't know. I'm not going to discuss that picture further. We've come to the conclusion. I don't know enough about what was said or being represented to be able to talk about it.
Can you have an internal tangent plane, Sean?
Against a model, yes. In real life, in real observations, no.
What about in geometry?
Yes. Can you measure a circle using Euclidean geometry only?
Hold on. No, that's a chord in geometry, isn't it? That tangent line is a chord. So it's cutting the circle.
No, it'd be internal.
You're mixing up your things, Sean.
Yeah,
I think you're mixing up your terms, Sean.
About what? Which ones?
The chord and the tangent.
No, you can create a tangent.
Blue has already admitted that he's mislabeled his own drawing.
It would be a representation of point to point over the surface, but it's not. That's the reason why it's not real world. It's not. That's why the whole idea of a hump is ridiculous. There is no hump.
Again, Blue has already admitted to mislabeling his own drawing. Yes, literally, every time I open my mouth, you just go and talk over me. I'm telling you.
I just wasn't
Blue
talking.
Has already admitted.
I just wasn't done talking because I was going to say, yes, Montreal, you're right. I have switched my terms in how I was explaining it.
Blue has already admitted that he mislabeled his own drawing.
Okay. Again, this drawing means nothing to me. I don't have enough information.
So Sean, you know now, Sean, you know now the difference between a tangent and a chord, right?
Yeah. So that's why, Montreal, I keep asking, and I still haven't got. And if no one knows, that's fine. But I've asked numerous times if where the water surfaces are represented in this picture that I've been shown, because if it's the water level is below, then that is a tangent plane.
Does that line touch? Does that line touch that curve at 1 point or 2 points?
I don't know.
1 point or 2 point?
I'd love to say once more, everything about that picture, I'm going to tell you I don't know because I don't have enough information.
then I will tell you because I'm looking at it right now. It touches the curve on
You
that
also
2
know a lot more
point.
information about it, so
We're looking at the same picture.
Until I watch the video now, if I want to talk about it, it's void to me. I don't care about this anymore. If I don't have enough information, obviously I can be talking about it, and it make no sense. When I had this conversation in the beginning of it, I assumed that picture, and everything I said had no relation to what this picture was representing. So it's very clear. I don't know enough, so I don't know.
So that line touches that curve at 2 points, making it not a tangent, but a chord.
I don't know.
No, I just told you.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, even though he just told you.
Well, I did a drawing a bit ago, sure. Not like just to help people out.
One of those orange lines represents the observer.
I labelled it when I did the drawing of all of the different bits to help people out with the circle bits. I labelled that a segment. And the secant is the one that goes past, but that one doesn't. It stops at those 2 points, so that would be a chord, wouldn't it?
See all those words? Very confusing, Sean. I have a hard time remembering all this stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're all fancy words and names for different bits in geometry.
Second, segment, arc, sagitta, radius.
Yeah, they've all got their specific meaning. Like nothing can be that apart from
tangent have to be horizontal like that?
What?
Does the tangent have to be horizontal?
Tangent can go anywhere around the circle. That's what it is. It touches the curve at 1 point and 1 point only. Now, for it to be able to do that, it has to be on the outside.
No, we've already covered that.
Which was why I was asking you about.
We've heard.
Oh. No. It was. I'm not sure if anyone wasn't listening or not. Or Montreal, did I not tell you I did? I messed up. Didn't I say that to you?
Yes, you said you messed up. Yes, you did.
Yeah, it's been clarified, so you don't have to keep acting like it's any different.
Yeah.
Again,
it's all right. Blue messed up as well. It's dead easy. It's dead easy for people to mess up about this simple geometry stuff. Chords and tangents.
When you're not getting enough information, it gets hard to do that, and that's why I told you right off the bat, or I told you simply that the conversation about that picture is pointless until I get more information. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seeing how I had never seen it until 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, and you obvious misunderstanding of what a tangent and a chord is, and you
just not a misunderstanding of it, not at all.
Well, you just seem to have a bit of a misunderstanding. Maybe it's just the way you are. In fact, we have finally come across that.
It was clarified. The explanation doesn't change. Yeah. It's just the terms.
That's good. So we know now then, right?
I don't know if you guys do, but yeah, I understand what Montreal was explaining to me.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well done, Essie. You can be our spokesperson for speaking to Sean. Teaching Sean.
Some people.
I wish this conversation only was between me and Montreal.
We don't understand what a tangent is. I'm just going to keep talking over you, Sean, because you just keep doing it all the time, mate.
Okay, so that's fine.
Every time I
do it anyway.
Talk over it. You're just doing it now.
Yeah, we've had Rumpus in here, Sean, telling us that we don't understand what a tangent is. I think he might have been thinking of you, Sean, and actually Blue. You and Blue. He might have got mistaken.
With the regular back and forth, respectful conversation, or are you just going to start acting like an ass? Okay. Well, Beth, I'll talk to you when you're not with Posse.
Okay. Well, like I say, Friday. Free for all Fridays.
Gone. You're gone, Bev. If you enjoyed the content, please support On the Level and future projects. Membership subscriptions available now, or come and get involved at Next Level Discord server. Thank you.